WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
I just want to share one story, and then I've got somebody on the lines already. Wow. Beautiful, mild weather out there, isn't it?
Enjoy today.
You
and
come
then
out
say goodbye.
in the morning, and it just feels so nice. It's not going to be like that after.
Say hello if you're welcoming winter. 'Cause it's coming.
After today, probably not going to be like that. All right. First of all, here I am coming down Route 8, so it'd be 12 North. And as you come up on Riverside Mall, Davey, you know where I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So left lane, I'm in the left lane. That's where I live. And so there's a car just sitting there doing, I don't
where
know,
I live.
40 maybe. And then there are other cars to the right, so I'm kind of locked in. So this guy finally begins to move over to the right lane so I can get over.
Yeah.
And you know who you are, you piece of garbage. Anyway, so he moves over, and then what do you think he does?
He says hello.
He steps on it.
Oh, okay.
And begins to basically try to stay. Now, I should have kicked it in to sport mode, and he'd have been in my rearview mirror so quickly. But it's a little early in the morning. I wasn't thinking. So now I'm coming along there, and I realize if I'm going to make this, I'm going to end up potentially cutting off a whole bunch of people. I could create 12-car pileup right there, 12 North, right on where everybody's turning and going off the ramp, and so I ended up
It'd be a good advertisement for the show,
I did
probably.
the responsible thing. I rammed him and knocked him right into the river. I did the responsible thing, and I ended up having to go all the way up to Riverside, get off at Riverside, and come all the way down and go the long way down River Road. The hell?
Well,
It's unbelievable.
so how about
What a piece of garbage. I mean, come on, wake up.
I've felt that way many times that you want to just push somebody's car.
You do.
into the-
You want to do it. You want to do the NASCAR Ram. Is there such a thing, Davey, as a NASCAR Ram?
No, there's nothing such as a NASCAR ramp.
Well, there should be.
Right. Are you going to design it for him?
I will.
Okay.
You know, Ralph
I
Cramden
absolutely will.
had a cure for anxiety, and I'll share it with you. I don't know if many people know this.
I did not know.
When you're in a
Knew nothing
situation
about it.
like that, he was a bus driver. He had a lot of frustration. When he was in that situation, he would say, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me? And then you smile to yourself, and you say, what's the matter? And I'll tell you, he could never remember
It
what
works.
the problem was.
You forget it. You forget
Until
what it
he
is.
exploded and then really remembered what the
What
problem
was I talking about? I don't even know.
There you go.
And I didn't even count. Can you believe it? So anyway, whatever. You know who you are, and I hope you're happy because you started my day off with a very big annoyance. Okay.
I wonder if people who, like, when you're out there and you have a little road rage, I wonder if the other driver is like, oh, this is Bill Keeler. Oh, watch what I'm
I don't
doing
think
to him.
so. I don't think so.
Okay.
I wear a mask when I drive, so there'd be no way he would know it's me.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, Davey, your assessment of Syracuse, spot on. I'm with you. I do feel we are in the midst of Dino Babers' final games coaching Syracuse. I think this is it.
They showed a stat last night when they
He's
were
got more. Oh, he's been on fire today.
Oh, I heard it. I was listening just as I was thinking of ramming the guy to the right of me.
He's 8 years, and he's 40 and 57 in his 8 years
Yeah.
as Syracuse coach.
The other part of this is, like, they just were horrible. And it was just this is a team that's playing well. They've got a new quarterback in. Since then, they've been playing better. This, I think, might be the third win in a row. But Syracuse should have been able to play with them. It should have been a game at the very least. And it wasn't. Buffalo, I just want to say, you're very happy with Buffalo, and I'm happy with the win. But I do want to tell you this. Very bothered at the fact that they took their foot off the gas pedal, and they decided to play the analytics And they had a punter who's just phenomenal. He kept it inside the 5-yard line almost all game long. But the fact is, they should have gone for it. They had it into Tampa Bay territory, just over the 50-yard line. And one of those 2 times, they should have gone for it. And they didn't. They should have kept the gas on. Instead, they allowed Tampa Bay to come back in. And the last play of the game was a Hail Mary down into the end zone. And let me tell you something. Had there not been confusion, they catch the ball. Or it's a pass interference, and they get one more play from the goal line. That was a potential disaster. And the other part of this that's positive is they let Josh Allen be Josh Allen. So that was a real positive. And Fitzpatrick followed suit, ripped his shirt off, and just went maniac in Buffalo last night during the postgame with Josh Allen.
Yeah, I heard that was when I turned the TV off. They were chanting, "Take your shirt
He's
off."
got to take it off. He's got to take it off. All right,
Okay.
Joe, can you hold just for another second, Joe?
Yeah, I got time.
I know you're all amped up like I am this morning, but just hold for a second. Because I do want to get an update on this Maine situation.
Unreal.
We will talk to Dr. Hall a little later on this morning. Doc has ties to Maine, family ties there, and this is personal for him and for a lot of people. And around here, a lot of people travel and visit Maine every summer. They spend time in Maine. It's a great go-to for upstate New Yorkers. Tanya J. Power is on the line right now. I'm, of course, saying all of this because of this person of interest who is still, I believe, at large. We are over 16 people now who have died, several others injured. Tanya, what do we know starting off this Friday morning?
Yeah, good morning. And by the way, Joe, thank you for letting me cut in line in front of you. I appreciate that.
He's very respectful that way, yeah.
So here's what we know. First of all, the governor yesterday during the press conference confirmed that there were 18 people killed in the shooting. 13 were injured. At that point, and apparently still, there are 10 people that still need to be identified.
Oh, my God.
I don't know if they have been identified and they just haven't released their identifications yet. But either way, that's still apparently, they're still working on that. The manhunt is going on still. Yesterday, they had helicopters that were looking up and down the countryside near the Kennebec River. That the Coast Guard is patrolling that river. Last night, law enforcement agents did execute search warrants at several of the properties that are, apparently owned by his family. Different places in Bowdoin, about 30 miles from the crime scene. They believe that he was not on a property. You may have seen video or heard audio of them, saying, "Come out with your hands up," that kind of stuff. They did that for a while, and then after a couple hours, they realized, okay, no, he is not inside. So they did execute those search warrants. This is still, like I said, going on. There are still people sheltered in place because they, as the governor said yesterday, and law enforcement, reiterated this several times, this guy is armed and dangerous. He should be considered that way, and nobody should, do not approach him under any circumstances, is what they said. We do know from yesterday that the people who were killed in this, there were 7 people at the bowling alley who were shot, 1 female, 6 males, 8 people at the like sports bar, billiards kind of place with 7 males inside, 1 outside with gunshot wounds, and 3 people died later as well. So.
First of all, he has military experience, right?
Yeah.
And obviously was a teacher when it comes to firearms, we believe.
Yeah.
And beyond that, the mind is such a tricky thing. When the mind snaps, your equilibrium is now off. And I'm not certainly saying that that's the case here, but it seems like that could very well be. How else could someone do something so horrific? I mean,
that's the question I think everybody's asking is what would bring you to this point?
Yeah.
The Army says he is a sergeant first class in the Army Reserve, a petroleum supply specialist with no prior combat deployments. He was a firearms instructor. Had about 20 years of experience with this. So he this wasn't just somebody who didn't really know what they were doing.
Wow. All right, Tanya, we appreciate the update. Hopefully today, because I have to say that if you know anybody up there and if you followed some of these stories, Tanya, people are scared to death. They just don't know if all of a sudden this guy's going to pop up and decide to kill more people.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that they're sheltering in place, I mean, that's a disruption all on its own.
It is.
To say nothing of the fact that the fear that's involved in all of that.
All right, Tanya, thank you so much. We appreciate the update. Tanya J. Powers from Fox News. Just awful, right? And Joe Lode on the line right now. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, tragedy up there in Maine, but I have to move on to happier things right now.
Transition time.
I've been up since 4:30 this morning. I went to the gym already, got my workout in at Mohawk Valley Wellness and fired right up because I have a lot of events to talk about today.
You're a busy weekend.
I hope I have the time.
Yeah. Well,
so here we go.
I'm going to give you everything I can give you here, all right?
Okay, so I'm going to start, and I'm going to get right through them.
All right.
So this morning, between 7 and 8:30, Free Coffee Friday at the Post Street Stewart's in Boonville.
Okay.
That's going on today. Tomorrow, Joe Lode will be at the Mohawk American Legion tomorrow night at 5 o'clock for all your dress up in your little costumes. It's like a Valley Mohawk reunion Halloween party at the Mohawk Legion starting at 5 tomorrow.
Can I just say, being a graduate of Mohawk High School, and I did get through high school, I do have to say, hearing you speak of yourself in the third person is quite enjoyable.
And also, I want to tell you that if you're looking for something fun to do with the kids tomorrow, is Trunk or Treat in the village of Boonville. And what they do is they have people and businesses. Like, we got a float, Matt and I meet GMC in Boonville. We made a big pirate ship, and we hand out candy to the kids. It's a safe way to trick or treat in the village of Boonville. Anybody's welcome. You don't have to be from the village of Boonville just to enjoy our beautiful town up there, Boonville. Come on up. It's Trunk or Treat tomorrow. But don't forget, it's free coffee this morning. And, Bill, you remember how I used to do Free Fritter Friday? That was just September. So I just wanted to tell you, going forward with Stewart's, it's Muffin Mondays in the month of October.
Muffin Mondays. Okay, all right.
Not that this is a Monday by any means, but it's a Friday and free coffee at the Post Street Stewart's in Boonville, New York. Come on up, have a cup of coffee with me and the gang, and it's a good time.
You know, you're up there in Boonville, and Joe, you do work in the automotive world. And
well, I don't work on cars; I sell them.
He doesn't work on them; he sells them.
Is that what you do, Joe? I had no idea.
Joe, I got I just can't keep up with this stuff, but I have 4 factory and wonderful shape factory rims with tires on them. Now, the tires are not in that great shape, but these are 4 factory rims for a Lexus. I believe it's what did I have, the 250 or the 350? Whatever I had. But do you want to, I don't know, you take a commission off selling them for me? I mean, let's get rid of these things.
Sell them. We can move them. Those are a hot commodity.
They are. I mean,
not cheap.
I was looking online. I mean, to buy those things new, it's up there. So
they're not cheap, and they'll go quick.
Remember the old?
That's an easy one.
All right,
we can set you up. I'll even post it on Facebook Marketplace for you, and you don't even have to worry about dealing with people.
Okay, all right. That's always good for me. That's always good.
I'll just take a seller's commission, which is very minimal.
That's fine. I'm good with it. In
very
fact,
minimal.
I may have another 30, 40 items for you if you're interested. So. I missed it. So New Hartford's big garbage night, your curbside trash pickup. They had typos all over the pamphlet they put out. And then we got stranded in New York City and didn't get home until late Sunday, so I couldn't put stuff out, but it looked like Wednesday was the deadline to put everything out. So I said to my wife, Tuesday night, I'm going to take time. I'm busy right now. This is political season. It's very, very, very tense.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the time tonight, Tuesday night, and then as I'm telling her this, they come along and they picked everything up. I missed everything. I had stuff to get rid of.
Oh, no.
You would have driven by my place and thought it was a garage sale. Everything was free on the curb, Joe. But I didn't get anything out.
I got a truck,
right.
and we can always go to the dump down there in Wirtz Ave. It's very convenient. very fairly priced.
These are things that I wouldn't even say should go to the dump. This is just what I'm saying.
These are saleable items.
So the big big item curbside pickup. You love those things. So
yes,
all right.
I do like the pick.
We'll talk later, Joe. Let's do this. But beautiful 4 Lexus rims. They're in perfect shape. I don't even think I've even ever hit the curb when parking. So I think they're good. All right.
Awesome. Well, let's get them moved. I'll move them for you.
And it's free coffee today up there at Stewart's in Boonville.
Yep.
Okay.
The Post Street Stewards with Matt 90 GMC.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
All right. By the way, what you just heard is not sponsored by any means. It's just Joe.
That is Joe.
It's just Joe.
I know he's a busy guy, but I hope he doesn't get a second job because we're going to have to add another hour to the show.
It would be terrible. Yeah, right. One more thing that he's trying to plug. Mike, this morning, Joe could be selling his own product on one of those infomercials. We could call it the Plug-O-Matic. That's great. You can plug anything, anytime, any day, any radio show, anyway. Just try the new Joe Load Plug-O-Matic. It's available now for $19.95. And if you buy now, you'll get 2 Joe Loads. I don't know if we could handle that.
Oh, is he here too?
I don't think he is. In the next 6 weeks, also, Mike says the Bills, and this is something to think about, Davey. The Bills have the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Cowboys, as well as the Jets and Broncos. And the tough part, come on in and sit down. Sit down. You look like you're a mess. In the next 6 weeks, the Bills have the Bengals, the Chiefs, Eagles, and Cowboys, as well as the Jets and Broncos in their schedule. The Bills do have a very tough schedule coming up.
Yes, so I want to say the next couple weeks, though, you guys got it easy. You
I
do
believe
play
a
the Broncos,
couple
play
easy
the Jets.
games, yeah. Well, the Jets,
which I still
though,
insist is an easy team.
I still believe the Jets, Richard, the Bills will be crushing the Jets in this second go-around. And do you see that Aaron Rodgers might actually be coming back before the end of the season?
Well, yeah, he keeps trying to do that, and they were talking about it, but, I mean, he's going to be out until, what, like at least mid-December? I made this point in week 3 or something when he was saying he was coming back. What do you want to be? You want to come back and lead the team to 8-9?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
And quickly, Jets and Giants this weekend. Are they going with Tyrod Taylor this weekend? They should be.
Let me double check. I think Danny Jones might be back, but I think that spells trouble for the Giants.
He could be back, but Taylor's pretty hot right now. You just can't talk to me. You got to talk into a microphone.
I'm allowed to speak, though, right?
Go ahead when I let you. Go ahead.
Tyrod Taylor played out of his mind.
Yeah.
And he showed that he could move the offense effectively.
He has everything to prove right now.
Yeah, which the Giants struggled with Daniel Jones. They could not move the offense. And part of it was he's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. He gets drilled.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor is a little bit more mobile. He can move around back there, and he can make plays with his feet.
Listen. I think Tyrod Taylor makes it a competitive game. Is that Sunday night?
The update I'm looking at here says Daniel Jones has not been cleared for contact. It remains up in the air if he will play against the Jets.
I don't even know if I'm going to have time to watch the game. I got this whole weekend planned with Joe Load. I'm loading his pickup truck. Have you heard?
Can I just one thing on the Buffalo Bills? Do you know the next time you guys play a 1 o'clock game?
It's unbelievable. This is terrible. I prefer 1 p.m. Sunday. That's it. I don't want any of these other games. I don't think we play another 1 o'clock game until because I'll bet it's after Thanksgiving.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve,
not Christmas Eve.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Why would I want to watch a football game on New Year's Eve at 1 p.m.?
8:30, 8:15, 4:30, 4:30, 4:30, 4:30, 4:30, 8 o'clock, and then you finally play a 1 o'clock game on 12:31.
All right,
one of the games is on Peacock against San Diego.
Okay. Davey's rant this morning. We might play that, take that off, and play that again later on Syracuse.
So good.
All right, let me switch gears. I have a lot to get to today. Richard this morning, and by the way, on the program today, epic. We have a whole bunch to get to. Willie Waffle is coming up in a few minutes. Bob Cardillo, mayoral candidate, is in. Dr. Sit tight. Dr. Kent Hall. I want to get an update. This weekend, the hospital opens. Sunday, stop talking. Your mic's off. Sunday. Is it 6 a.m. is when this all begins? They begin moving patients to the new hospital. The new hospital opens on Sunday. What does it mean for the rest of us? How should we How should we deal with our curiosity? How should we act if there's a medical emergency? Dr. Kent Hall will go through all this again with us. Rome Mayor Jackie Izzo is in. County Executive Pacenti, is he on today?
Yes.
Okay, he's in studio as well. And this morning, Don Leibel set this up yesterday. He's been working on a story. He's from Rome, and Davey played Major League Baseball, lives out west. Going to be getting up early for us this morning. We're talking about
Mr. Archie Cianfrocco.
He's on the radio this
He
morning.
played for the San Diego Padres and the Montreal Expos.
8 o'clock hour, and you'll be here for that. Isn't that exciting? Okay, good. Stay tight there. Richard, these candidates for Utica mayor election could not be the worst candidates in history.
Oh, come on. Now, come on.
I just want to say, though.
Look at our candidates for president, for crying out loud.
Let us look at, by the way, there's a new Democratic challenger for Biden. He's a congressman. And he has announced, he's been kind of toying with it, he's announced he's going to challenge Biden. Okay, listen to this sentence, though. Richard, these candidates for Utica mayoral election couldn't be the worst candidates in history. I find a real problem with the sentence structure here.
Yes, so they could or they couldn't be.
That's right. It's like you saying, listen, I couldn't care less. And somebody will say to you, no, it's I could care less. I could care less. And my response is always, no, it's impossible for me to care less. That's how much I don't care.
So I could not care less.
I could not care less because I have reached the epitome of not caring. But in this sentence, these candidates for Utica mayoral election couldn't be the worst candidates in history. So does that mean they're the best? Or they're not the worst?
They're not the worst. They couldn't be the worst.
Good morning,
It's impossible for them to be the worst.
Who, me? It couldn't be.
Good, Willie. Hold on. They'll be
One
right
is
with
a
you, okay?
full-time employee making well over six figures. One is a lifetime loser. And one knows totally nothing. They all stink. God bless you, Utica. You will need it. Signed, Richard.
Who doesn't know? I would like to know what he's talking about at the end there. Who's the lifetime loser and who doesn't know anything?
I don't know. I guess you're going to have to kind of figure that out on your own, says Richard. So.
I think he's calling Cardillo a loser because it would be pretty harsh if he was. Like, who calls a woman a loser?
Does Cardillo make six figures, well over six figures?
No, that's Galimi.
Galimi's making...
and doesn't know anything. I think that's directed at Celeste.
That's Celeste, you think. Okay. By the way, early voting starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm moving on, so stand by. It starts tomorrow at 9 a.m., okay? He keeps wanting to talk, and I got him. You can have a question, but I have to ease into this. This is not the time. Willie Waffle coming right up here. There's much to get into. We're watching a couple new streaming series out there. And there's a movie that I can't wait to hit my TV. It's in theaters now because my wife is not all that keen on going to the theater right now. I don't know why. But this is it De Niro and the whole this is going to be a really
I don't know about this.
I can't wait. You do. We talked about it last week.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
And
so it hits theaters this weekend?
It hit last weekend.
Oh.
I want to know, when does it hit my TV?
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Willie,
I'll try to keep up.
You're coming right up. It's 6:47. A quick break here. Hold tight. It is a Friday morning. It's going to be a beautiful day. If you can mosey away from work today at some point, you're going to enjoy this day much more than tomorrow and Sunday, weather-wise. Got a break at WIBX.
I'm Anthony Pacenti. As county executive, I tackled tough issues. I acted to make our schools safer for our children. I immediately stopped the immoral attempt to bus illegal migrants into Oneida County. I continue to work every day to combat the scourge of the opiate epidemic in our community. I will continue to tackle tough issues head on, and I won't let bad decisions in Albany stop us. And I ask for your vote on November 7th.
Leadership and a vision for the future is how Oneida County is moving forward. Oneida County Executive Tony Pacenti.
We've made significant investments in healthcare and public safety, created new opportunities in tourism and youth sports, and invested big in high-tech, state-of-the-art research, resulting in high-quality jobs right here at home.
Oneida County is working, growing, and moving forward. On November 7th, let's keep it that way. Re-elect Tony Pacenti, Oneida County Executive.
Paid for by Friends of Tony Pacenti. blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
Brank Construction. If you're in need of concrete, driveways, sidewalks, stone walls, block walls, cellarway entrances, garage floors, basement floors, it's Brank. All of your masonry and concrete needs, call them today. 315-894-3481. Brank Construction. 315-894-3481. There's still time to pour concrete, and the Brank brothers do a better job than anybody. David and Rocco Brank, call them today and get your project done before the snow flies. Well, at the very least, before winter settles in. Call 315-894-3481 for Brank Construction.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
I know Willie Waffle is on the line right now. Willie, good morning. And, you know, Willie spent many years working in politics, not just entertainment, but Willie is he's a veteran politics guy and a veteran campaign guy. And, Willie, good morning. Early voting in New York begins tomorrow.
Oh, my. Yeah, I mean, this has got to be one of the most massive changes in politics that we've seen in years and years and years. I mean, you know, the idea that, you know, we've gone from a system where how you feel about that candidate on one particular day is what drives whether or not they win or lose. And now that window's been opened. I mean, you know, you used to, when you were running a campaign, you would target everything to make sure that you peaked right around Election Day. And now you've got to change that peak, and you've got to keep a steady high going from
hard.
Now late October until Election Day, which is very difficult.
It is,
and
I'm telling you something. I don't think campaigns have completely figured it out yet. The best way is to do it. You know, early voting begins on the 25th and runs through November 5th. Election Day is November 7th, but that means you got to be hammering away by right now in your campaign because Election Day is just around the corner. So,
well, and I think voters haven't quite adjusted yet either.
I agree.
I mean, how many times did we hear stories about people, and I think about the 2020 election, where they're like, I already voted, but now I want to change my mind because this thing happened today.
Right.
No, it's too late. You already voted.
Yeah, you can't. Once you vote, you can't change your mind.
Yeah, that's the bad thing. But the counter to that is what they make it accessible, right? So
it's very accessible. There's no excuse. No excuse.
If Grandma Jean doesn't like to go out in the rain and it rains on Election Day Tuesday, then Grandma Jean doesn't get to vote.
Okay, Willie, we have a lot to cover here and only 8 minutes to do it. The movie there with Martin Scorsese's movie, what is it called?
Killers of the Flower Moon.
It's doing well, and
yes.
How long before it hits my my TV?
Well, you know, Apple is the company that was really behind it and made the deal with Scorsese and is, in essence, the studio in this case. Now, they did that because specifically they want this to be on Apple TV+. When they entered into their agreement with Paramount is the distribution company in this case.
Okay.
They typically have a 45-day window clause in their contract. So that's going to put you into early December. And that makes a lot of sense because early December is really when kind of the Oscar race starts to kick off. And you start to get a lot of these organizations that are nominating best films and best actors. And that publicity will help propel Killers of the Flower Moon when it starts streaming on Apple. So I think you're looking at early December. A date that I've heard bandied about is December 4th, but they haven't made anything official.
Well, it's a good case for me to make to my wife to say, let's go see this in theaters right now.
Yeah, just make sure that you're well rested, that you will stay awake the entire 3 hours and 30 minutes because that's hard. I mean, I'm willing to say that. I'm a little older now, and make sure you get the small soda, man.
All right, very important. Okay, let's start from the top on Paramount Plus. This is streaming inside your home. Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, this documentary. I am shocked at how interesting I found it to be. So this is the story of Milli Vanilli told by either Milli or Vanilli. I'm not sure which one he was, but it's Fabrice Morvan. And, their rise and the meteoric rise. I mean, the way these guys came from really nothing. I mean, they are true underdogs, people who did not have easy lives that really had to struggle and fight and scrape and do everything possible to become these major, mega worldwide stars. And then, of course, the scandal that ended it all when the word got out that they weren't really singing on any of their songs.
Yeah, that was something.
It was shocking. And what I think makes it so interesting is that, it does take another angle to it. I mean, when the scandal broke, right, Milli Vanilli ended up being the dirtiest word in music for years and years and years. And these guys took the blame and took the fall. And what the movie does is it looks at all the other people behind the scenes that orchestrated this, knew what was going on, that made all the money that was happening, and basically let these guys hang out there when this house of cards fell. And that, to me, is what's so fascinating. As you see all the different players kind of admitting, oh, yeah, we kind of knew. We knew it about this point. Yeah. And everybody kept going along with it.
You know what thing? You know what kills me is this has been done. I mean, they got nailed. But this has been done for years. Even when you some of the Beach Boys stuff, that wasn't the Beach Boys on a lot of those. Maybe the singing, but not the music. I mean, there were a lot of times that you brought in a studio musician to fill a void for something, and it's not just the Beach Boys; and music in general.
Well, and that's something they get into too. They talk about Milli Vanilli's producer. And and I never knew this. He did this with another artist years earlier, and made him a big disco hit. So you're right. I mean, think about like the Archies, right?
Right.
The cartoon band. That was a whole bunch of other folks, behind the scenes who did the music.
The Monkees.
The Monkees had studio musicians playing their instruments a lot. I mean, you're right. There is a history of this.
Okay, what do you think of this series?
I'm at 3 waffles. I thought it was pretty interesting. Right. I thought it was really interesting.
Girl, you know it's true.
Well done, Bill. So here's my question, and if this is a spoiler, I guess just ignore it. But what happens to the people whether it was one guy or two guys or whoever, the actual singers? Did they not want to get the credit? I mean, why couldn't we put out, instead of Milli Vanilli, why couldn't we get Bobby and Joey to go out there and sing what they were actually singing anyway?
Yeah. So, they are part of the documentary, and they talk to them and their experience that they had during this whole process. And I remember this. I mean, this is not a spoiler. They came out as the group after this whole scandal broke, and they were being promoted as the real Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
So we see kind of what happened with all that. I mean,
so it's worth watching.
A lot of parties in here, man.
And this is on Paramount Plus.
Okay. Paramount Plus.
All right, so we got to move quickly.
Okay.
Five Nights at Freddy's. It's Halloween weekend. Worth watching. Theaters and Peacock.
Yeah, and it's kind of just a bland horror movie. Josh Hutcherson playing the struggling father who takes a job working security overnight at basically an old Chuck E. Cheese. They can't use that name, but and at night everything comes to life. And what happens is they bury this under a whole bunch of extra story that we just don't really need, and it never becomes as scary as I think it needs to be. So I'm at like 1 waffle for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Freelance, John Cena in theaters.
Yeah, the movie that kind of came out of nowhere. He plays this retired special forces guy. He takes a freelance job, kind of providing security for a journalist who played by Alison Brie, who's traveling to a third world country to interview this ruthless dictator. And of course, while they're there, a coup breaks out, and now the three of them are running through the jungle trying to get to safety. And again, this is a movie that needs to be a lot funnier, needs to have a lot more jokes. The only reason you laugh at any point is because Alison Brie and John Cena are both very funny and make, lemonade out of lemons.
Okay.
I'm going 1.5 waffles.
And then I thought I saw this already, but there's a Netflix, if you want to stream something this weekend, Pain Hustlers. And is this the opioid situation?
Yeah, it's just another story from the opioid crisis and the opioid scandals. And yeah, you're right. We've seen many, many, many things about this. And this is kind of like another story in there. This one with Emily Blunt and kind of focusing in on, this down and out lady who becomes a salesperson, is very, very good at it. But eventually the company starts to change, and she starts to question whether or not she should be involved in this anymore. It's at 2.5 waffles.
Okay.
I think it's a solid movie, but like you said, I've seen the story done better multiple times already.
If you've seen read the book or the movie, seen the movie, The Hunger Games, I can't believe this. They're turning it into a play.
Well, you gotta squeeze every drop out of the lemon, baby.
I guess.
Yeah. So, yes, there will be a play in 2024. We don't know who's going to star in it or anything, but it will premiere on or in London, I believe on the West End.
Okay.
And we'll see if they make a ton of money.
All right. And I won't get into the Britney Spears stuff, although everybody's talking about the abortion. That's apparently the big takeaway.
Oh, yeah, that's sad.
Okay, Willie, enjoy the weekend. Thank you, man.
All right, talk to you next week.
Willie Waffle. News straight ahead. Much to do this morning. WIBX Utica Rome. It's 7 o'clock.
The U.S. goes on the attack in Syria. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After coming under attack there and in Iraq for more than a week, retaliating against Iran-backed militants who've injured more than 20 American troops in those attacks.
A pair of F-16s targeting 2 sites in eastern Syria. The Department of Defense says they were being used by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Now, the U.S. dropping the airstrikes on a weapons depot and an ammo storage area near Abu Kamal, right along the Syrian-Iraqi border. It's unclear at this point if there were any Iranian militants at the time of the strikes. Now, Secretary Lloyd Austin says the United States does not seek conflict, but said Iranian-backed attacks on American forces are unacceptable and must stop.
That's Fox's Brooks Singman. On day 21 of Israel's war against Hamas, ground forces have gone into Gaza a second straight day with a raid ahead of a planned invasion.
This time they went into the Shajaya region. This is someplace that Israel says Hezbollah, or Hamas, I should say, has a stronghold, a lot of infrastructure. There was combat there. There were fighter jets in support of the troops that went in the ground.
That's Fox's Mike Tobin in Israel. One of the strikes killed the head of Hamas's intelligence unit. Palestinian officials say the Israeli bombings have killed 7,000 Palestinians in Gaza, where there's a lot of destruction, but not a lot of food, fuel, or medicine left. They still haven't found Robert Card, the suspected gunman in Wednesday's mass shootings in Lewiston, Maine, that left 18 people dead, 13 injured. Some more law enforcement is joining the manhunt,
including the elite Border Patrol tactical unit that, of course, found the prisoner who recently escaped in Pennsylvania. But state authorities, local authorities, federal authorities are spread out throughout Maine. They did focus last night on a couple residences, a couple properties in Bowdoin. That's where the accused shooter lives.
Fox's Nate Foy in Lewiston reports they didn't find him in those homes. People in the area still told to shelter in place. Many businesses closed, and there's no school. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. And feel the difference of Relief Factor.
We have partly cloudy skies, 56 degrees. WIBX News Time 7:03. This news update brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit clintontractor.net. You can help identify and locate this week's Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week. Authorities are looking for 58-year-old John Canarelli, believed to last be living in the city of Rome. Canarelli is sought on 3 separate arrest warrants. Full details of that and a photo at WIBX950.com. Early voting gets underway this weekend in New York. Residents have a chance to cast their ballots, that is, ahead of Election Day. Polling places in counties around the state will open up early, and early voting wraps up on November 5th. You can find a complete list of polling locations for early voting in Oneida, Herkimer, and Madison counties right on our website at WIBX950.com. Anyone who encounters an issue at the polls is encouraged to reach out to the Election Protection Hotline, 866-390-2992. That's available through the State Attorney General's office, and officials there say everyone has a right to vote, free of intimidation and coercion. A Duanesburg resident faces a long prison sentence after he was found guilty of murdering his wife and child. Yesterday, a jury convicted Nelson Patino of brutally killing the victims at the family's home in 2021. Another child was also wounded in the assault but survived. Patino may be sentenced to life in prison without parole when he faces a judge in December. His attorney says he is planning to appeal. And the Utica Zoo is getting ready to celebrate its 110th year. That's incredible. And we've got a historical glance at the Utica Zoo. See photos through the years of the Utica Zoo on our website at WIBX950.com. And one more for you. Police across New York State cracking down on drunk driving once again with Halloween just around the corner. They say you can expect to see more patrols on the roads tonight through Tuesday. If you're planning to drink, you are urged to make sure that you have a safe ride home. Anyone who sees suspicious or dangerous activity while they are driving is encouraged to call 911. WIBX News Time is 7:06. Your Weather Center forecast comes to you from Eyewitness News. A few clouds today, but expecting mostly sunny skies. A pretty nice day shaping up as we'll have a high hitting 75 degrees today. Overnight tonight, increasing clouds. For your Saturday, we do have a 30% chance of rain showers with a high of just 67. Sunday, 70% chance of rain with a high of 49. Monday, cloudy. Again, a chance of rain showers and a high of just 48. Quite a drastic fall off. So make sure you get out there and enjoy the weather today. Right now, partly cloudy, 56. WIBX News Time, 7:06. All right, in sports, the Buffalo Bills kicked off Week 8 of the NFL season with a victory last night. They did hold off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a final of 24-18. Buffalo now 5-3 on the season. They're just a half game behind the Miami Dolphins, who are 5-2. Also coming up this weekend, the Rams clash with the Cowboys in Big D, the Vikings against the Packers, the Bengals head to the Bay to battle it out with the 49ers, the Giants and Jets will have a showdown at MetLife Stadium. Rangers and Diamondbacks begin the Fall Classic tonight. It's the World Series Game 1 from Arlington, Texas. Rangers right-hander Nathan Eovaldi expected to take the mound. He's been 4-0 this postseason. The Diamondbacks counter with all-star righty Zach Gallen. All right, Smitty. Might as well turn his mic on. Well, after an ugly performance last night, Syracuse falls 38-10 to West Virginia.
No, Virginia Tech.
Virginia
not
Tech.
West Virginia.
I keep doing that. I'm sorry, Smitty. I apologize. Syracuse now 4-4. They have yet to beat a conference opponent. Would you like to add anything, Smitty?
ESPN must be terrible for them. They're 0-3 against big-time rivalries.
Well, I'm sure it's not the network they're on.
Well, yeah. They just look pathetic. That's all I'm going to say.
Delvin Cook says he wants to get traded. The running back.
You went off at 6 o'clock this
He did.
morning. We'll have to replay that.
I can go retrieve that. I've never heard Davey so mad. I believe I called it a big league rant. That's what it was. According to ESPN, Delvin Cook says he's frustrated with his usage with the Jets. He'll be speaking to his agent and the GM about a possible trade. The NFL trade deadline is coming up on Tuesday at 4 p.m.
Bring him to Buffalo.
Yeah, right. I'm sure you'll take him. I wanted to mention the Utica Pioneers are at home, the men's hockey program, tonight at 7 p.m. at the Adirondack Bank Center, tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. as they battle Adrian. And then the Utica Comets are home tomorrow night at the Adirondack Bank Center. They're doing a special Halloween trick-or-treat type of a deal but they are home at 7 p.m., and they will host the Rochester Americans.
So a lot of hockey action this weekend.
And they play Syracuse tonight on the road.
Yes, they're on the road
okay.
against Syracuse tonight. Thank you, Smitty. You know what I wanted to mention? I apologize, Bill. We've got some Section 3 football playoff action. Whitesboro will host Fulton, RFA at CNS, Camden at Indian River, Herkimer plays at Mount Markham. The Westmoreland Oriskany team will be at Beaver River tomorrow. Proctor plays at Liverpool, and Dulgeville will host Pulaski.
So a big high school football weekend.
Yes, it is.
When is the Dome? When does that happen?
I believe the 24th, the weekend of the 24th. So we're about 3.5 weeks. Maybe that's 4 weeks away. That's 4 weeks.
So right around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we're just I think the weekend before Thanksgiving.
River Hills Properties, the fastest growing real estate company in all of Central New York. Nobody sells homes like River Hills. 15 years ago, they had one agent. No one knew who they were. They wanted to define themselves as different, an alternative to everybody else by offering extra services and really being high service, a lot of service from the very beginning till the very end. You know, selling a home can be very stressful. Bill and Robin Manjo, they had a philosophy that if you service people, if you really work for them, it will separate their agency from the rest. And right now, they're number one for independent agencies, number two if you include the big chains. That's from being nowhere to be found 15 years ago. That's River Hills. And River Hills is offering buy a ticket for a vet. It's Heroes tickets. Give the gift of comedy to a local veteran on Veterans Day. Jimmy Fallon and Kennedy coming to the Stanley Theater November 11th. And if you call up the Stanley or go to their box office, you can get tickets for yourself, but you could also buy tickets for a veteran. Call 315-724-4000 at the Stanley box office for details, and consider Heroes tickets for Jimmy Fallon and the Laugh and Liberty Tour with Kennedy, former MTV VJ. And, Davey, what do you want to say?
So he was promoting that yesterday heavily on his show, saying that it's going to be the last stop with him and Kennedy.
Oh, it is.
So he was promoting it and said, my man Davey will be there. And then he said, Davey, me and you are going to team up and body slam Jeff Banaski.
Okay.
Well, it would take two of you.
I
get a little bigger in my older age here.
Well, listen, I got to tell you, this could be good. We'll do it right on stage. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
You're working out.
I
Everything's
have
good.
great insurance, too, so
Good.
I'm sure I'll be fine.
You're going to be set. All right. That, by the way, tickets available at Ticketmaster. Heroes tickets have to be purchased through the Stanley box office. It's brought to you by River Hills Properties. They're the ones that have brought this thing to the limelight, and we appreciate it. Quickly, Stefan, I don't have all day. What's going on?
Well, hello, Bill.
Good morning. Good morning.
Now, when Dr. Hall is on from the hospital, I'm wondering how is mental health services going to be handled at the downtown hospital?
All right, we'll ask that question. Anything else you want to add?
And Syracuse needs to fire Babers.
Yeah, I think you may be right. Yeah, very, very bad. I don't know that they'll even make a bowl game. Maybe they will. I don't know. Okay, Stefan, you have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Don't do anything stupid.
Okay, and
right.
I'm at the Comets game tomorrow.
All right, Stefan, it's just as if I'll be at the Comets game tomorrow. Autographs on the lower vestibule over on the side there, east side of the auditorium. So check that out. Okay, there you go, Stefan. Thank you.
Bye, Bill.
Have a wonderful weekend. Be well out there. Mike says, I bet the Major League Baseball is sick that the Phillies didn't get in rather than Arizona. They will definitely take a hit in the ratings because of the market size.
Correct. And just for those, look, and I know we talked a bit about fixing games and point spreads and things like that, but I just want to say I think that maybe some proof that it's not all rigged, right? Because the league certainly didn't want Arizona, Texas.
That. Yeah,
no.
And I don't think either one of us are believers that it's rigged. Some guy in the 540 on YouTube Live this morning. Babers has to go. He's long gone by now. Fred Dunleavy, remember the music industry screwed Milli Vanilli out of music awards because the record producers were idiots. Point in case. They really, really screwed them. That documentary is up on Paramount Plus. Should be interesting. Willie gives it 3 waffles. Says it is really a good watch if you want to find something to stream this weekend. Coming up, Bob Cardillo is running for mayor of Utica. One of 4 candidates out there. We're going to bring him in studio coming right up here.
And please send us your comments and questions. FX in New Hartford says Cardillo would manage the Utica's finances and be a good mayor, but a lousy communicator. Friend is Utica's own Hillary Clinton. She would screw up all the progress. Galimi seems level-headed and a decent communicator. Has the Utica Police Department endorsed, and the Utica Police Department has endorsed him. With all the shootings and crime in Utica, what corporations are going to want to come to Utica? If the police endorse Galimi, that means they're confident in him to tackle crime. A peaceful city is a prosperous city. Galimi's the right choice. That's from FX in New Hartford. We keep getting messages from everybody outside the city of Utica about who they like. I'd love to hear from those who live in the city.
I do find that interesting. There's a lot of they're coming in from Lee. They're coming in from New Hartford and Whitesboro. What does Utica think of its race?
Yes, and FX, I appreciate the comment. I'm just pointing out that most of the comments we get about the Utica mayor's race are from non-city residents. But thank you for the comment nonetheless.
One more from some guy in the 540. I love it. Joe talking in the third person. That's from last hour. Got a break. 7:15. Bob Cardillo in next to WIBX.
Why get an updated COVID vaccine? If you're 65 or older, a COVID vaccine can keep you out of the hospital. And if you have heart disease, a COVID vaccine can help you stay healthy. With COPD or other lung diseases, getting a COVID vaccine can keep you off a ventilator. Anyone can get severely ill from COVID. But some people are more at risk. Know your risk and make sure you're up to date on your COVID vaccine. A message from the New York State Health Department.
Rome Mayor Jackie Izzo.
As a business person, I saw Rome stalling, ran on a platform of a new beginning where we needed to concentrate on economic development, housing, jobs. And I think we've delivered on all of those. But not only that, we've done so much more. We've taken care of our infrastructure. We have increased job opportunities throughout the community. We've brought in over $70 million in grant money. Private sector investment is up near $350 million, probably more than at any time, even when Griffiths was built. And so the new beginning really doesn't have an end. That's why we need to continue this great work into the next 4 years. This has been the best experience of my life and the most humbling experience to work for the taxpayers of the city of Rome. And I hope that you will give me that opportunity to continue our work this November with your vote.
On Election Day, vote to re-elect Mayor Jackie Izzo. Let's keep Rome moving forward. Paid for by friends of Jackie Izzo.
Ready for a smoother and safer ride? Head to Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, your trusted tire experts. At Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, you'll get expert advice from their staff, and it doesn't end there. Now through October 31st, buy 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get up to $100 back on a Bridgestone Visa prepaid card. For details, visit TallmansTire.com. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Get the tires you and your vehicle deserve at the best prices guaranteed. From Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at TallmansTire.com.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And did we mention it's aluminum free? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 500 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 500. LumeDeodorant.com, code 500 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 500.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Watching the Bills last night, the car of the game. Were you watching it all? Did you watch the game last night, Bob?
No, I wanted to, but something was screwy with my TV, so I couldn't get into Prime.
Davey, what was the car of the game advertised last night on the Bills game? Every other commercial was this car.
The one that you driving.
It's a CX-90.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's all. I don't know to tell you something. It's so funny because at one point the guy in the commercial he's driving in, he's like, "This thing has the power of a Mazda. It's unbelievable." And he said, "And listen to that sound." It's. I mean, it's really.
I've heard the commercial.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
good.
love your car. It's beautiful.
I love the car.
Beautiful
I love it.
car.
I do really love it.
And I like cars. That's a good-looking car.
Steve Ponte Mazda, creating the ultimate customer experience, goes beyond. So a lot of people buying and leasing the new Mazda, that means they're trading in really good pre-owned vehicles, and of course it's Steve Ponte Mazda, certified 160-point inspection, and the balance of the 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. If you need a lower price or payment, Rick says, come in and let's make your deal on a Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle. From the dealership that's achieved first place nationally in customer satisfaction, Steve Ponte Mazda. Bob Cardillo is running for mayor of Utica. Early voting begins tomorrow. Tomorrow. By the way, I do have a couple of non-mayoral questions.
Certainly.
You being a musician, you're a drummer.
Yes.
What do you think of bluegrass? If somebody said, I want you to play bluegrass, would you do it?
Now, you're going to say non-mayoral questions, but if he says something negative about bluegrass, and there's a bluegrass fan out there.
We're going in hard, Good point.
I love music, period.
Listen to this bluegrass version of Michael Jackson's Thriller. Are you ready?
Okay.
Here you go. That, I believe, is a feed. That's definitely Michael Jackson singing. Or it's AI. But that'd be something for, right? I mean, maybe Fritz's Polka Band could get down that road.
Well, Fritz's Polka Band does an amazing job, but I just want to say, as someone who's not running for mayor, that rendition sucked.
I
loved
it's
it. It's a little different.
I want to tell you, if I'm somewhere and they're playing bluegrass, I'd be like, yeah. And then all of a sudden they come up with that. I'm like high-fiving people. I would love that.
You know, you got to remember, I spent a lot of time down south, Mississippi. And,
sure, it's big. There,
listening to that stuff, and it starts to get into your ear, man.
It does,
like an infection. Got a good ring to it.
Before you know it, your brother, where art thou? Right.
Well, one of the things is if you like music, you just about like everything.
Music. Yeah. Here's something. Here's the big question. Up to this point, everything. Really, the Beatles have maintained a credibility that is second to none.
Absolutely.
In my opinion. And you agree with that?
Oh, God, yes.
So next week, the last Beatles song will be released. It's called Now and Then. Now, you'd say, is this something out of the archives? Well, yes, but they've taken something from the archives, a cassette version of John Lennon.
Okay.
And they are remixing it, and it includes McCartney, George Harrison before he passed away, Ringo Starr, and Sean Lennon, the son of John Lennon. And they've used technology. They were able to take the cassette version and turn it into a high quality version, and it will be released next week.
Oh, I look forward to listening to that. I mean,
I do too, but I wonder if we're going to be listening to it saying, you know what, they've jumped the shark here, or they've gone, they've sold out. I don't know.
I don't. Usually, just about everything they've ever done, I've liked.
Even McCartney, and at his age, in his 70s, right?
Yeah,
you go to see a McCartney show, it's like it brings tears to your eyes. It's like listening to the Beatles at times.
Well, if you go from Meet the Beatles, which was the 60s, I was in grammar school, you go from Meet the Beatles to Sgt. Pepper to the Blue Album White Album,
yep.
To Wings and
Elvis
everything.
was the Blue Album.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Well, don't want. And they took a lot of. They loved Elvis.
They did.
They loved Elvis. Lennon
fans.
loved Elvis.
Yeah.
But the Beatles are the high mark now for musicians.
They are.
I really believe that.
And interestingly, the transformation of the Beatles from that early "I Want to Hold Your Hand" to the complex But their inspiration for that complex
Well, we
rock
know where they- yeah.
came from the Beach Boys and
Beach Boys, Ravi Shankar.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. Right. All right. Nonetheless, here we are, Bob Cardillo. They're not going to use you as mayor for your music knowledge. Here we are. Early voting begins tomorrow. And what do you think?
Well, I think it's been pretty exciting. We've been doing this now since I announced on November 10th of last year. Started preparing in August of 2022.
Yeah.
It's been a great experience. It's been a wonderful ride, talking to people, listening to people. And here we come down to crunch time. It's 11 days. We're on the 20-yard line looking to kick this thing into the end zone.
So I want to say very sad news came out this week with a longtime listener of the program, Jeff Hartz.
Yeah.
Jeff, as a matter of fact, was just, and actually Jeff was one of the contributors from my early days when I first started at K-Rock and was fired at Rock 107 and started over at K-Rock. Jeff was there, one of that group of like 20 people that would come to the studio every morning that contributed. It was an amazing time. Anyway, Jeff still contributed with ideas and called in things, but rest his soul, he has passed away. The funeral, by the way, is tomorrow. You can look up the obituary online. Very, very sad. Our condolences to his family. Davey, you didn't even know, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Oh.
So, nonetheless, I bring up Jeff because every time you would come on, Jeff would call in and say, Bob, you don't have a chance. So I'll ask you, do you think you've reached a point where you have this Democrat who's in a write-in campaign? There's another Democrat out there in the write-in campaign with a write-in campaign. Then you have Celeste running as the Democrat, and Mike Galimi running as the Republican, and you're the conservative. With this interesting dynamic and everything that's been going on and any of the controversies that have been included, do you have a chance to win at 9 p.m. on the 7th?
Yes.
You feel you can win?
Absolutely. More than a chance. Every day we continue to pick up supporters. Every day we continue to have people say, Bob's the most qualified. And the answer is, Bob's the most qualified, so go vote for Bob. That's the tack that we're using.
Okay.
And I can tell you from the standpoint of we're back up on the air. Our commercial started, I believe, yesterday. We did a pretty sizable buy. And, look, why would I do this if I didn't think I could win?
Yeah.
People say that. You don't have a chance. Well, why would I put myself through a year's worth of work, put myself through, some criticism and whatever? Why would I do that if I didn't think I could win?
Well, there would be some that would say you cut a deal with one
No,
of the... I'm just saying.
Again,
that
why
was
would
the
I...
original...
Yeah.
That was the original storyline.
But talk about the original storyline. Then why would I be spending, in a lot of instances, my own capital? I mean, I loaned this campaign a sizable amount of money. Why would I do that?
Yeah. Okay.
If I made a deal, I mean, it makes no sense. Plus, the fact remains that I believe I have the most to offer, and that's what it comes down to. Anybody who runs for public office, if you don't believe that you are the most capable, then you need not be in the race.
Okay.
It's like Josh Allen thinks he's the best quarterback. If he doesn't, then you don't need to be the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills.
I wonder a couple of these times he wasn't thinking he was the best, but he did seem that way last night. I did enjoy that.
I just want to mention I was walking my dog Monday or Tuesday night, and I was in New York Mills, and sure enough, as I'm walking along, I see a sign for, oh boy, I can't remember the guy's name. Then there's one for his opponent. If I won't mention one, I won't mention both. But as I keep walking, I see a sign for Bob Cardillo for mayor in New York Mills on somebody's front lawn. I just found it interesting to see one of your campaign
Are you
signs.
running for mayor in New York Mills?
No.
Okay.
No, it was mayor of Utica, but the sign was on a New York Mills lawn. I just thought it was a little
I think
odd.
if you go around the community, there's signs for for everybody in different.
Yeah, you do see it outside the
city.
community. Dina, you're delusional. You do not have a chance. My guess is maybe Dina is supporting.
Well, that's my
somebody
sense.
else.
Somebody who says that, they're obviously supporting somebody else.
Okay.
Lance and Lee, please let Mr. Cardillo know I applaud him for running a clean campaign. He doesn't seem to be doing the mudslinging that the Gleamy campaign seems to thrive on with their online attack dogs. Let's see. This is from John. Can you have Bob explain the proposition on the ballot regarding sewage and how that impacts the city of Utica? Familiar with this?
A little bit, but I can't get into the details on it. When I'm focusing on our campaign, the one I'm most interested in is the one on the school districts, because that affects the ability of the school districts to be able to bond.
Yeah.
And I think it's important because when this was written, it was written quite a while ago, and inflation and costs have gone up so much that we need the extended amount of being able to bond. So I think that one's the one I'm most informed with. But I apologize. I really haven't gotten into it.
Do you have anything else?
No.
I do want to ask you about, and I received this from your campaign. It was the letter back and forth with the Utica PBA.
Right.
And this is Josh Harrington writing. He said that when Mr. Cardillo lost in the primary race, that his run for mayor of the city of Utica was over. The same situation occurred when the current mayor took office for the first time. He's going back to 2011 when you stayed in the race. Mr. Cardillo staying in, we will be stuck with a Democrat as a mayor again. Take the loss and get out. If we are stuck with a socialist due to Mr. Cardillo staying in after he lost, then he truly does not care about the city of Utica. We will be endorsing the Republican who won, Mr. Galimi. You're and calling Celeste Friend a socialist. How do you?
Well, first of all I wanted was an opportunity to be heard. And I think Celeste and even Courtney Muhammad, anybody who's running, should have an opportunity to be heard. I don't care if you've already made your decision. Hold that in the bands. At least let everybody come to you. Look, I've got, and quite frankly, Mr. Harrington is off base because I have a significant number of folks in the police department that support me. I have a lot of retired police officers that support me. I've had police officers call me, talk to me about my precinct plan that they think is incredible. I'm the only one that's actually put together a plan. Not saying that, well, I talked to the chief. No, I put a plan together to help fight crime. So as far as I'm concerned, none of these organizations bothered to call to say to Bob Cardillo or Celeste Friend or Courtney Muhammad, we'd like you to come in and talk to us. Because at one point or another, they may have to deal with somebody that they didn't endorse. So why wouldn't you at least want to make them feel as if they were a part of the process?
Sure.
That was my issue.
And then, do you have a comment on the latest back and forth in regards to Mike Galimi? Whether he was against the hospital going downtown or not. There are plenty of interviews out there where he's talking about he was against it, but says that he was never against it. And it's become kind of this back and forth over, was he originally not mattering whether he was for it or against it, but is he telling the truth? And do you have a comment on that?
My only comment is throughout this campaign, whatever questions you all have asked, I've always been forthright, honest, and upfront about it. And I think that's what's important. I think if there's any flaw, it's that Michael has a tendency to always not kind of own up. And to me, it would be better to say, look, here's how I felt on day one, and here's how I feel now, and let's move forward. I just think it's important because at a certain point as mayor, you're going to have to make decisions.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to be honest with the public. And that's the only comment that I have.
Anything else? I've got one more comment. It's Dina piping back in.
Oh, Dina, God bless you. I love you.
Now, all he wants is an opportunity to be heard, ? Bad reason to stay in and screw over the Republican candidate. There are a lot of people who are staunch Republicans who are angry that you're staying in.
You know, I'm glad you're asking that.
Yeah.
Because, you and I have a history goes back 11 years ago.
We do.
And quite frankly, after that primary was over 11 years ago, I didn't know whether I was going to stay in or not. It took me a while to decide.
Yeah.
From day one, when I announced my candidacy, I had no intention, winning or losing the Republican primary, to get out. I was in this to win it from day one. And it's a totally different race today than it was 11 years ago. Totally different race today.
Yeah. And I will say, in fairness, I do remember we asked you this question, if you lose the primary, will you get out? Will you commit to getting out? And you would never commit.
No, but remember, I told you, I'm going to tell you the truth. I
Yeah.
never said, never waffled. I said from day one, we're in this, we're in it to win it, because I believe I have the most experience, the most expertise, and we're in a tough time in this community, and we need to move forward.
Did the Conservative Party, the head of the Conservative Party, the state party, did they come to you and ask you to get out?
No, absolutely not.
Because that is what's being said.
He called me, as a matter of fact. He called me and said, Bob, what are you going to do? I said, I'm in it. I'm staying in it. And he said, whatever you decide to do is fine by me.
Okay. Bob Cardillo, good luck. Can we do this again before Tuesday?
Yes, I would love to. I would love to.
Good
and
deal.
I'll bring another tomato pie.
Okay, that's the only reason we're bringing you in, to be honest. That's the reason. Not true.
By the way, can I just say that I want to thank you guys. You guys have been doing this for a year. Same way. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Bob.
Thank you so much. While others say we are not fair, I would like to see the evidence.
Look, I've been on both ends of this. Okay, so
you
I
have.
understand.
Yeah, we have had.
We've had our differences.
We had a few scuffles during this.
But guess what, guys? That's leadership.
It is. You should be able to handle.
You can't hold a grudge either.
Right.
You can't hold a grudge.
Right.
Because you may have to do business with that guy down the road.
We appreciate the fact that you're on the air with us.
Thank
so
you.
We do
very
appreciate
much.
that. All right. I want to get a quick update. This weekend, and I know you know this, Bob, Sunday is historic. It is maybe one of the most important days in the history of Utica.
It is.
And when you look through history, it's hard to find dates that you can look at and say, this is a historic day. And I have to say that the hospital opening in downtown Utica is definitely historic.
Well, I have to say that you know why in most cases you don't hear anyone say that this is a historic day is because they usually say this is an historic day.
Yes, I love a good grammatical mistake.
If you drive down, you know what's exciting? Drive down Route 12.
Yes.
And look at the skyline of Utica, and it looks like, wow, Utica's a city, man.
It is impressive.
It's growing.
I agree. And Dr. Kent Hall on the line right now. Doc, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good. I know that we wanted to get a quick update. How, number one, I guess the way I'd phrase it is, how do we, the public, does the hospital want we, the public, to handle our curiosity? And what happens, God forbid, if you have a medical emergency?
Yeah, so I guess there are three things that I would really want to emphasize. Number one is that the emergency department in Utica is going to be open 24/7 on Sunday and going forward, just as it has in the past. The two emergency departments at St. E's and St. Luke's will be open until 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. At 6 o'clock in the morning, they will stop accepting patients, and the Wynn Hospital ED will start accepting patients. So we will have ambulances available so that if somebody comes into comes into one of the current campuses after 6 o'clock and they need to be need to be seen, they will have and they are very sick, we will have the ability to transport them to the Wynn Hospital. But keep in mind, and the ambulance services around the area all know that at 6 o'clock in the morning, they don't go to St. E's or St. Luke's, they go to the Wynn. So that is first and foremost the most important thing, because we want to make sure that people who need emergency care know exactly where to go. The second is for those who are really interested in kind of watching this play out, whether you've got a family member or a friend who's a current patient, or whether you're just interested in watching. We have set up areas where people can watch. They are off campus of all of the three current campuses. So if you want to watch what's going on at St. Luke's, you should be watching from across Champlain Avenue at Utica University. If you want to watch what's going on at St. Elizabeth's, then you can park in the Women's and Children's Clinic parking, which is across Genesee Street. And if you want to see the ambulances arriving and delivering patients at the Wynn Hospital, then you can park in the parking lot behind the Brooklyn Pickle, and you can watch from across State Street.
Yep, go ahead. I'm sorry. You're on a roll, so keep going.
Yeah, and the third thing that I think is really important is for those people who will have family members who are going to be transferred, once they have been transferred and have been settled, we will be reaching out to family members by phone to let them know that their loved one has made it to the Wynn, what room they're in, and we'll be giving them instructions as far as visitation. So we are, we are very well, we feel very comfortable about that. We're very well organized about that, and we know how important it is for people to be able to catch up on what's going on with their family members.
All right. Somebody asking here, what about the nurses? How are you handling staff? There are stories out there where people are saying they have to walk a half an hour just to get to work. What provisions are being taken for the staff?
So for folks that are what's the best word for this? That work odd hours. There is ground parking that is available right next to the Wynn. For anybody working between a regular schedule between 5:30 in the morning and 8:30 at night, there will be parking in the St. Luke's campus, and we'll be shuttling people down, and it's going to drop them off at the front door. I mean, they'll be walking less than they are now.
And of course, for if you're visiting someone in the hospital, there is free valet parking that drops you right off at the door.
Exactly right.
Drop your car off at the door.
You can drop your car off at the door. You can get out and walk in, and a valet will take your car and park it. And then when you're done, you can come out, and the valet will go and get your car.
All right, good stuff. Anything else you want people to know?
Just we're all really excited about this. We know that we can take care of patients and do the best job. This building and all the new technology in it, and all the work that we've been doing, not only from a medical standpoint, but actually from a patient satisfaction standpoint, and everything, really to make the Wynn as Mr. Wynn said at the ribbon cutting. The hospital is a building. It's the people inside that really provide the care. And we are really looking forward to it. And I got to tell you, people are just chomping at the bit. They want to get in there, and they want to show what we can do with this new technology.
Nice. Dr. Kent Hall, as always, we appreciate it. I did want to ask you just briefly. You have ties to Maine. The shooting that occurred out there is horrific, and the fact that the person is still at large is just terrible.
Oh, yeah. So I will tell you that my wife grew up in South Portland, and Maine, while it is a huge geographic area, it is really a small community, especially if you go from Augusta down south, and that's where we're talking about this area. So my wife knows people. So she is one degree of separation. She knows people who know people or are family members of people. And honestly, she's been kind of just waiting to hear that one of her friends was involved in this too, because that's it's just a small community, and it is devastating.
It certainly is. I'm
so sorry to hear
that. Yeah. Doc, as always, we appreciate it. Best of luck this weekend. It's an exciting weekend. While it's important to do everything you have to do, savor the moment.
Absolutely right. Everybody, again, just as what our tagline says, Utica, this is for you, and we're really looking forward to it.
Doc, if I can squeeze in one more quick, the psychiatric floor, is that staying at St. E's or going over? I have somebody saying they've heard it's not ready yet.
It is ready, and the 9th floor, which is the mental health unit, is going to open on Saturday, just like the rest of the hospital.
Excellent, thank you.
And that is the top floor where it allows for people to get out if they're there for mental health. There is an area where they're able to be exposed to the outdoors.
That's absolutely true. And people say, "Oh my gosh, how can you put a mental health unit on the top of a 9-story building?" The safety precautions in that open area, the 17-foot fence, and the inability to scale that. I mean, it's a great. Plus, you can go out there and you can have a panoramic view of the Mohawk Valley. I mean, it's really just a beautiful place.
Dr. Kent Hall, never thought we'd get to this point. Maybe we can get an update Monday morning, but thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Right. Please enjoy the weekend and please be safe.
All right. Thank you. All begins at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning.
I'd like to know, are they hiring the ones who start all these rumors about MVHS? They always plant these little seeds that
the foundation is sinking.
I got dozens of them. And I appreciate the listener who sent me the question, because if that's out there, we'd like to get it addressed.
Well, that is
but
a question
I'd like to come up with some of these rumors. Are they paying at least minimum wage?
That is a question that Stefan had, as a matter of fact. He wanted to know about mental health services, and they will I think it's going to be a better situation than it was currently, by far, when you look at the facility. Mike says, wouldn't it be great if they ceremoniously lowered the no hospital downtown flag as the hospital was actually opening?
Yeah, well, don't count on that.
Don't hold your breath on that one. All right, Hobica.
Also, there is an old pirate stomping ground underneath the hospital. There's a pot of gold.
Okay.
All kinds of...
There's a tunnel to get under there, I think?
Yeah, it's right underneath the hospital. So
okay.
It's a nice
Davey,
treasure chest.
Davey. Hobica was fuming yesterday because you gave someone a second chance. I wasn't here yesterday. Yes, you did. It was your fault. You did it. I told him yesterday you did it.
I wasn't even here yesterday.
Stop making excuses. Okay. And remotely, you told me that he wanted to do that, and I did it for him. I tried to do it for Joe yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So he said, do not give away money today. And how do you translate that? I kind of perceive that to mean don't give away too much money today. Is that how you see it, Davey?
I guess so.
All right. That's how he... Oh, wait a minute. Is that him on the line now?
Yes.
Oh, great. Good morning, Joe. Good morning. It's all Davey's fault. Yeah.
No, my issue is that you cannot comply with the rules of the contest.
Hold on one second. Davey, what caller are we taking today?
You're breaking up, Joe.
What caller number, Davey?
Caller number 0.
What caller number, Davey, are we doing?
Caller 5.
Caller 5. Davey did it again, Joe. He did it again. 5th caller through the lines right now. I'll leave it at this. It'll be $100 today. No more. $100. All right? 315-736-0186. Joe, in honor of the hospital opening, in honor of the Bills winning last night, in honor of the final days and weeks of Dino Babers as coach of the Syracuse Orange, I mean, there are many things to commemorate here.
This is the kind of thinking that has made you a financial success.
It is.
In
Thank
your
you
life.
for that.
I have to say.
I think it's time to hang up on you now.
Are you hanging up on me?
I don't know. You got a lot of noise in the background. Are you racing out there this morning? Oh,
I'm racing to get to the studio.
Okay. Good news is you're going to be
violating my request.
You will be too late. Safe travels this morning, Joe. Thank you. All right.
Goodbye.
I am hanging up, and there he goes. All right, we'll take that 5th caller and give you a chance to win Hobica's dough this morning. That's next on WIBX.
He called it a historic budget. Historic because Piceni hasn't raised the Oneida County tax rate in 11 years. Michael Hennessy would like to remind you that in his 17 years in office, Piceni never lowered the tax rate. And his historic budget doesn't raise the tax rates because he can't. Oneida County is operating at the maximum allowable sales tax rate by New York state law. Now you can make a historic difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, the true independent candidate that can stop the historic spending. The historic spending that goes up year after year after year. It's what generational politicians always seem to do. Spend more of your money. Be a historic hero. Vote Michael Hennessy for county executive.
I'm Michael Hennessy, asking you to make the difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, November 7th. Thank you.
This Saturday, the Rome Capitol Theater presents The Invisible Man double feature with a screening of two classics. The Invisible Man, released in 1933, is regarded as one of the classics of the genre, and Abbott and Costello meets The Invisible Man is hilarious. Don't miss The Invisible Man double feature this Saturday at the Rome Capitol Theater. For tickets and more information, visit www.romecapital.com.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99, save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, it's time for Hobica's free money question of the day. Even though just moments ago he was yelling at us and telling us not to do it, he's complaining this morning. Siri is even piping in this morning. What does she have to say? Siri.
As Ronald Reagan once said, there Habakkuk goes again.
Okay. There Habakkuk goes. There Habakkuk goes again. She can't quite pronounce his name. Have you ever noticed that?
Oh, yes.
That is so funny. All right, let's get to Paul in Whitesboro, who's going to take a shot at winning Hobica's $100 this morning is what we're doing, Davey, right?
Right.
$100. Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
You know the deal. You'll have 7 seconds to answer the question. We need one answer, and I'm going to say to you, you can pick question A or question B this morning.
Question B.
You're going to go with B, and here is your question. If you're writing out numbers, spelling them as in O-N-E, T-W-O, etc., how far will you have to count before you use the letter A? Ready, go.
I have no idea.
1, O-N-E, 2, T-W-O, T-H-R-E-E, F-O-U-R,
F-I-V-E,
F-I-V-E, T-E-N, E-L-E-V-E-N, T-H-O-U-S-A-N-D.
I was going to say, I think it's 1,000.
1,000. Yeah.
My clarification was going to be, it's not going to be like 847.
Yes, right. Don't. I guess I should have prefaced this by saying, don't start from the beginning. Do some jumping.
It's 1,000. I actually would have got that right.
It's 1,000. Yeah. All right, we will give you the Utica All-in-One Food and Fun card. It's a $25 gift card to Aquavino Babes, 72 Taylor and the Cook, and all the restaurants that they have, and the concession stands at the Adirondack Bank Center. And Nexus, stand by. Davey's going to hook you up, okay?
All right, thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you, Paul. Paul in Whitesboro. In studio right now is thank you, Mr. Hobica, for taking a shot with us this morning. Ultimately, we didn't give away his money,
Well,
right?
Joe owes me $100, so.
Okay. Mayor Jackie Izzo in studio right now. Mayor, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, here we go. Early voting begins tomorrow, and I'll ask you the way I asked Cardillo. How do you feel about the campaign leading up to today?
I feel really good. I think we've got a lot of momentum, and we're working very hard to, right now it boils down to bringing out the vote. And I can't stress enough, we saw this in the primary. We don't want to see it in the general election. People need to get out to vote. We've been doing a lot of door-to-door meet and greets. We're having a coffee tomorrow morning at Espresso's from 9:30 to 11:30. People are welcome to just stop in and see us. So we're doing lots of things to generate the vote for this election, and it's going to be very, very critical. I have seen there's still a lot of apathy out there and complacency about voting. But hopefully people are interested in this race and they will get out. Because the city is, we're in a great place right now, and we have a lot of momentum on our side, and we can't stop that forward train. And I really believe that we need to continue with our leadership going forward. The city, we've got it positioned to go great places, and we don't need to take 3 steps back.
And you feel if a change in administration would you feel that would be the case?
Absolutely, because considering we had a debate the other night, it was very clear this candidate does not have the experience or the qualifications that's necessary to be the mayor of the city of Rome. You have to have some background, either education, business, government, in an administrative capacity, and it's just not there.
Okay. Manaski.
Talk about maybe something that you're most proud of as in your term so far as mayor.
Well, obviously holding the taxes for 7 years, that we've been able to bring city services of a very high quality. We haven't sacrificed anything, and we've been able to hold the taxes for the citizens. That's very important. And the fact that we have got development happening in every quadrant of our city. Nothing's been overlooked. We've been trying to spread things out. We've got a lot of infrastructure improvements going on, and we've brought new business to Rome. We've brought jobs. We've raised the median income. There's just so many things that have happened, and they're going to continue to happen, but it has to happen with the right leadership.
I want to go back to the debate the other night, and there was a moment where your opponent, there was yelling from the crowd. Your opponent had, we'll call it a zinger. How do the voters react to that? I would assume that his supporters loved it. Your supporters hated it. But what do the independent voters think? And basically saying that he moved out of Rome because of you. I want to play the audio here.
I currently own a house in Rome since February of 2022 that I paid on and paid taxes on.
And let's start with that. It started with the residency, saying that he lives in the city of Rome. Everything we've been told prior to this is that he lives at the lake, which is actually outside of the city of Rome. He says since 2022 he has lived in the city of Rome.
Well, that's not true. He may be sleeping at that house now since he said that, but he lives on Elmer Hill Road. That is the address that was on his petitions. That's where he's been all summer. If you look at the records, the city records, the deed for the house on Lindale Drive is in his mother's name. It's not in his name. So I think that's a little disingenuous to the voters. It's only a couple of weeks before the election, and suddenly his car is there.
Okay. Here's the rest of this.
That's my wife's at. And we have just recently moved into that home. So, and my son has always attended Rome public schools. So I'm a strong believer in that the mayor should follow the rules which are set out there within the Rome Chamber and also an election law, which I have followed the entire time and made the promise that I would be here for Election Day, and I am here for Election Day.
Okay, hold the applause.
That is Katrina Smith doing the moderating.
Rome should live, pay taxes, and
WKTV
system in the city of Rome.
Absolutely. I've done that my entire life. Not only do I live in the city of Rome as a resident, I also have commercial property here. And I also think it's a little disingenuous You chose to move out of Rome.
Because of you.
You chose to move out of the city.
That is obviously his supporters. You chose to move out of Rome, and at one point I think you said you abandoned Rome. He said because of you. How do you respond to that?
I think that's impossible. Why would anybody decide to move out of Rome because of me? He had an opportunity to move to Lake Delta, where he said that was his, and I'll use his quote, his dream home. That's fine. But don't think that you're going to come back to Rome now because you see an opportunity to make money, more money, on top of your disability payment on the taxpayers. It would be fine if you had the experience for this job, which he clearly does not. But I think we need to stop this train. Jim Brown was elected. He was not from Rome, and at that time, I said the same thing. We should not be allowing anyone that doesn't pay taxes to be the mayor. You're making decisions about budgets, tax rates, people, personnel, and you don't have a vested interest. There's something wrong with that. So I did follow that up by saying that if I am successful in a couple of weeks, I will introduce, and I want to clarify that because Councilor Rogers insinuated at the council meeting the other night that I said I would enact. I never said that. I said I would introduce a local law that if you want to run for mayor, you must be a resident of the city of Rome for a year prior to running. I think that's only fair to the voters because regardless of where he's living now, he cannot vote for himself in this election.
Stand by. We're going to come back to you and hit you on the other side of news. Tony Pacenti coming up next hour. Also, Archie Cianfrocco is on the radio next hour. I'll get it for you if you want. We have Fox News straight ahead. WIBX Utica Rome. It's 8 o'clock.
The U.S. retaliates in Syria. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, hitting Iran-backed militant bases with airstrikes. Republican Congressman Carlos Jimenez tells Fox Business.
I'm wondering exactly what damage was done to what, and will it actually deter these terrorist groups from continuing to attack our troops in the Middle East.
In the past week, those attacks on U.S. bases in Syria and in Iraq have injured more than 20 Americans. U.S. contractor died of a heart attack. Israel still hasn't invaded Gaza as planned, 3 weeks into its war against Hamas, but their forces did cross the border again.
For the second consecutive day, Israeli forces launched a mechanized assault on the Gaza Strip, pushing all the way into central Gaza before pulling out. They're backed by targeted airstrikes, killing senior Hamas leaders.
And Lucas Tomlinson in Tel Aviv. As Israel ups the number of hostages Hamas is holding in Gaza to 229. Palestinian officials say the number of Palestinians killed in Israel's bombings in Gaza tops 7,000. The manhunt continues in Maine for Robert Card, the suspected gunman in the Lewiston mass shootings that left 18 people dead, 13 injured.
Card is an Army reservist with documented mental health issues that police say included hearing voices and threats to carry out a shooting at a National Guard base in Maine. As for things here in Maine, the shelter-in-place order remains in effect. Businesses are still closed. You pretty much just see members of the media, for the most part, as well as law enforcement on the streets.
Well, that's Fox's Nate Foy in Lewiston. President Biden has a new challenger. But this time it's a Democrat running for president against him. Dean Phillips, a congressman from Minnesota.
We've got some challenges, that's for sure. We're going to repair this economy, and we are going to repair America as long as we do it together.
And Phillips said in that campaign video he'll launch his White House bid in New Hampshire this morning, though the president is skipping the primary there because New Hampshire went against the Democratic Party, keeping its primary first after Democrats scheduled South Carolina first in 2024. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95. Visit ReliefFactor.com. or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. And feel the difference of Relief Factor.
We have some sunshine trying to peek through the clouds, 56 degrees. WIBX News Time, 8:02. This news update brought to you by Carl's Furniture. They're now hiring over-the-road tractor-trailer drivers. $2,500 sign-on bonus, brand new equipment, home weekly. Contact Mike at 315-527-6111. Well, early voting gets underway this weekend in New York State, meaning you can cast a ballot ahead of Election Day. Polling places in counties around the state will be open early until early voting wraps up November 5th. Anyone who has an issue at the polls is encouraged to contact the Election Protection Hotline at 866-390-2992. That's available through the State Attorney General's office. Letitia James says everyone has a right to vote, free of intimidation and coercion. You can find polling locations for early voting in Oneida, Herkimer, and Madison counties at WIBX950.com. Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers releasing information on their wanted person of the week. He's identified as John Canarelli. You can find a photo and a list of charges at WIBX950.com. Police across the state cracking down on drunk driving now through Halloween. Officials say police will be out on the road starting tonight and continuing through Tuesday. If you're planning to drink, do not drive. You're urged to make sure that you have a safe ride home. Anyone who sees suspicious or dangerous activity while driving should dial 911. I'm going to slide right into sports here quickly just because we're short on time here this hour. A busy hour. The Utica Pioneers at home hosting Adrian at the Adirondack Bank Center tonight at 7 p.m. And the puck drops for the same game tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. The Utica Comets will be home at the Adirondack Bank Center tomorrow night. They're doing their Halloween festivities at the Adirondack Bank Center as well. And the Comets will host the Rochester Americans tomorrow night. The Bills got a win last night, kicking off Week 8 in the NFL season. They downed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-18. The Buffalo Bills now improved to 5-3 on the season.
Big question last night was this has become a real thing for apparently Josh Allen, his audibles. So last week, maybe the week before, it was LeBron James, and LeBron tweeted out afterwards, I wonder what the play is, et cetera, et cetera. So last night, it seemed like, and I don't know if you saw this, Davey, was the audible J.R. Smith or was the audible Taylor Swift? That is the big question in Buffalo.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Which was it, do you think?
Taylor Swift.
Do you think it was Taylor Swift? Yeah, they're messing with they're messing with Mahomes and what's his name?
Well, they better.
Yeah, they better
don't go picking a fight
better
there.
Play better by the time we go to Kansas City.
And he was yelling LeBron a lot too.
Yeah.
I wonder what play call that was.
Well, that was a key. He was he kept the ball and he ran and went nowhere on that play.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he's when he calls that out, he's telling the offense to either travel or flop. I'm not sure which, but
or double dribble.
Yeah, might be. Okay,
let's see. What else I want to mention here? Smitty says Syracuse was terrible last night as they got beat up by Virginia Tech 38-10. The Orange now 4-4 on the season. They'll play next Friday night. The World Series gets underway tonight in Arlington, Texas. The Rangers host the Diamondbacks for Game 1 of the Fall Classic. Ex-Yankee Nathan Eovaldi takes the mound for Texas, opposed by all-star right-hander Zach Gallen. World Series, Arizona claimed the NL pennant for the first time since winning the World Series in 2001 with a 7-game takedown of the Phillies in the NLCS. And, of course, the Rangers beat Houston to punch their ticket to the Fall Classic. That begins tonight. What else do I need to mention? I'll just run down the high school stuff again. Whitesboro hosting Fulton tonight, RFA at CNS, Camden at Indian River, Herkimer at Mount Markham, Westmo Oriskany, that's one team, is at Beaver River. Tomorrow, Proctor plays at Liverpool, Pulaski at Dulgeville. A quick look at your forecast. Today's the crown jewel of the weekend. Sunny skies with a high of 75 today. Chances of rain showers tomorrow and Saturday. Tomorrow's high, Bill, only in the low 60s. We're looking at upper 40s for your high on Sunday.
It is going to be a little chilly. All right, so, Cully, I said I would let you talk a little football, and we're in sports. So,
oh boy,
do you have high school football knowledge? I know, or would you rather talk about Syracuse? You don't think, I'll go to Syracuse. You don't think that Dino Babers should be fired?
No, I don't think Dino Babers should be fired because, first of all, they don't have the money to bring in a top-tier coach that they need.
You believe that Syracuse can't compete anymore?
Well, the problem
not
is,
in the ACC.
The problem is recruiting. And when you take Syracuse and you put them up against Clemson, you put them up against Florida State, you even put them up against Duke, the top-tier teams in the ACC, the level of talent, the fall-off is just incredible, you know? And the Dome isn't the draw that it used to be. I mean, everyone used to love to play in the Dome.
Yeah,
There'd be 50,000 people screaming, and they just can't recruit. I mean, you take these recruits and they see Clemson, they see the facilities there, they see the facilities at Florida State, and they just blow your mind. It's just an arms race. You know, they have.
How are the facilities at UConn?
The facilities at UConn are incredible.
Which is where he played college football.
Yes, and Frank Cristiano and I interviewed Randy Edsel the other day, and Randy talked about in his first 4 years, he was able to build a stadium that holded 40,000 people, and he built an indoor practice facility, and it was the only indoor practice facility in the Northeast. It was better than Boston College.
Wow.
It was better than all those schools, and that really helped them bring in the recruits.
All right. Davey, you agree or disagree?
I agree with Cully.
Mayor, do you agree or disagree?
I agree. Facilities are huge.
Yeah.
And I don't think
arms race. It's an arms race.
I don't think Syracuse has the recruiting budget that they need
anymore
to compete.
And then they lost what's his name, Mr. I have all the money and bringing everybody in because Wiseman, because he started to go rogue. He started doing things on his own that didn't fit into the NCAA rules, and Syracuse has already been in trouble.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden he gets angry and he's gone now.
On the basketball side, they are recruiting a very big name who is a donor at Syracuse right now. They are recruiting, trying to get Carmelo Anthony's son.
I saw that. They were all in town, yeah.
Well, basketball is a totally different animal.
It's a different animal, and Syracuse, Cully, you'd agree that Syracuse can compete in basketball.
They can compete in basketball. The problem right now in college football all around is the NIL deals. They can make money off themselves, off their name, image, and likeness. And Syracuse doesn't have the collective of the alumni that are putting together the donor money to give these recruits the high-level money that other schools are throwing out to get them. And it's disappointing because...
It is disappointing.
You know, they just don't have the strong alumni base to fund it.
It's not the days of yesteryear when Coach Mack and the Dome was packed and, boy.
Yeah.
Or the real days of yesteryear back in the 50s and 60s.
Paul Pasqualoni did a great job.
Yeah.
They recruited Florida. They were able to get, the second-tier players in Florida to Syracuse, and that's why they were able to compete.
Yeah, all right.
And in the ACC, the best that they will do, they'll be middle of the pack, 6-7 wins, 7-5, 8-4 maybe. But you're not going to see the 10-2, the 11-1 years where they're going to the ACC championship and playing in bowl games.
Let's not forget we had McNabb, and that was an amazing.
It was.
Yeah. Davey, you adding to that, or we're good?
When Pasqualoni left, they lost their two key recruiting tools. One big guy in Florida and one big guy in the South. When Pasqualoni left, them recruiters left. When they brought in Doug Marone, Scott Schaefer. You thought maybe they could recruit.
Nathaniel Hackett. They've tried.
All right, thank you.
Can
I told
I say
you
one
I'd give
more
it.
thing?
No,
Okay.
I got to go to the mayor now.
Okay.
Let me go to the mayor. Sorry, I have to. She's sitting right here. For God's sakes.
I know.
All right, Mayor. What do you want to say to the voters in Rome? Because it all really does begin tomorrow. Early voting changes all strategies when it comes to running for public office.
I just encourage them to look at our record. I think we have a tremendous record that we're running on. We have millions of dollars of projects that are underway in Rome. It just isn't time to change the coach. We're talking about sports right now.
Yeah.
The team is a winning team. We're successful. we need to continue that. Rome has great momentum right now. We're either going to go ahead for 15 years or we're going to slide back for 10. We can't afford that. I think this is probably the best period of growth since Griffiths Air Force Base closed. You can see it all over the city. It's not just in one space. We have housing going up everywhere. We've got businesses that are coming in. We have jobs. We have career jobs. Really, right now, the conversation has shifted as to how do we get our younger people as early as 7th grade understanding that they don't need to leave their city anymore to have a really good paying job and they can have a career right in their hometown.
Manaski.
Comment coming in here. It's been brought up your chief of staff makes $95,000 plus benefits, which equals $125,000. How's that a good use of taxpayer money?
So the city's budget is $51 million. The mayor's office is 3 people: the mayor, the chief of staff, and the admin. We're certainly not overstaffed. If anything, we're understaffed. The chief of staff there's been no mayor without a chief of staff or someone of that equivalent. Plus, in the city of Rome, we do not have a human resources director, so a lot of that personnel issues falls on the chief of staff. Actually, I think that's a pretty cheap salary for someone of that caliber.
What do you mentioned that you have many projects that are underway. There are millions of dollars in projects that are underway. What are those projects that you feel are important that you're playing a role in, that it's important why you believe you should stay on the job?
Well, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative is not complete yet. So City Hall renovation is underway. The James Street parking garage is almost down. We'll be doing a surface lot there. Copper City Lofts is getting ready to open. So I think that we need to see that DRI through. Our administration won it. We need to see those projects through. We are finishing the water expansion. That'll go into next year, as well as providing better fire protection and better pressure up in North Rome, and then turning on the spigot to sell water to the town of Verona. Hopefully that will happen at some point next year. We're replacing our main sewer line. Copper Village was just announced. That's a $105 million, 250-unit affordable project that's going to be in South Rome on the waterfront. It's going to take, our administration has put these things together. You can't change the team in the middle. We are deeply embedded in this, and I am deeply embedded in all of these things. It takes a certain level of expertise by the administrator, that's me, the executive, to see these projects through, and I just think it would be very detrimental to Rome if someone changed the leader.
The issue with the water, is that, I don't want to say set in stone, but is there already a contract in place?
Yes.
For instance, if there's a change in administration, could that derail it? Or
you never know what'll happen when you change an administration.
Okay.
People have different priorities, but yes, there is an intermunicipal agreement in place. But until we actually turn it up and start to interface with that municipality, we don't have the process yet. We've got the infrastructure being built. So those things are all very important. And I said 8 years ago, if I wasn't making a difference, I would step aside in 4 years. And we were making a difference after 4 years. Well, I still feel the same way after 8 years. We are making a difference in Rome. We need to stay in place. This is not a change election. This is an election about Rome's momentum. We've got a different vibe in the community. We are on our way to some great things, but you don't change the team in the middle of a winning campaign.
And then finally, somebody asking about housing. The question was, who will live in these houses?
Copper Village?
Any of the housing projects?
Well, this particular project, let's say Copper Village, this is going to be targeted toward disabled vets, elderly, and workforce. So these will be mid-market rate apartments, townhouses, and patio homes. So exactly the target audience we need right now. People that they can't pay $1,400-$1,500 a month for an apartment, but they certainly want a new apartment with modern amenities, somewhere between $900, maybe $1,100, or $700 and $1,000. That's where we're at right now. And so some of these will be affordable, where the units will be set aside for disabled vets, elderly.
Okay.
And so they will be affordable to their income brackets.
We have reached out to your opponent several times, have asked him to come on. He does not. I do have to say, with other candidates that are in the race too, have the same type of situation where this group tends to not want to come on this program. We appreciate it because you coming on doesn't give you it doesn't afford you the luxury of us saying we're going to protect you from phone calls or people asking questions. Any questions anyone can ask at any time, and sometimes they're difficult questions. And the fact that you're willing to come on, very much like other candidates, such as Tony Pacenti, same type of situation, you're willing to come on, and we appreciate that greatly.
We can't pick. You can't pick and choose. Once you're the mayor, you represent the community in all different types of situations. There's another radio station that my opponent refuses to go on as well. I do interviews for everyone. I don't care if it's radio, TV, newspaper, whoever it is. I've never turned down someone asking a question. And that's important because the mayor has to have different avenues to speak to people. You can't pick and choose on media.
You want one more?
Sure.
Will everyone in Rome have city water before Turning Stone does? I didn't know it was the Turning Stone.
Well, it's not. It's we are selling water to the town of Verona.
Okay.
Verona's distribution system may include Turning Stone, but it also includes people that are out on the Durhamville side where they're really very close to the canal, and there's really a public health hazard out there. They need to get off the wells. And so we're going to be providing potable, filtered water, clean water, so that they can do that. Verona's a big town. In fact, they will become our largest water customer once we turn that on. And if Turning Stone is part of that, then they're in their distribution system. They're going to get water.
Are there parts of Rome that don't have city water?
We've expanded water now almost to the end of on our west side, up north. Very few parts were in the south. I'd have to take a look at the map, but I think after this expansion, Rome has an outer district that's 2 miles around the city, and I think part of the goal was to try to bring water to that entire 2-mile stretch. So we'll have to take a look when we're done, but we are as far north as we can go. I believe we're as far west as we can go. I would think so in the south and east. Because we stretch to the Floyd border on the east, and in the south we stretch as far as Westmoreland.
All right, Mayor Jackie Izzo, I'm sure we'll do this at least one more time before Election Day.
Sure.
Early voting starts tomorrow, so thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, 8:20, County Executive Anthony Pacenti is up next. We'll talk to him at WIBX.
On behalf of IBEW Local 43 Union Electricians and the NECA Contractors, we are pleased to partner with Alfred State University in providing our members with an opportunity to enhance their education at this great university.
Alfred State is proud to strengthen our long history of working with unions to create non-traditional pathways for career advances in the skilled trades.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and NECA will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
When you want something done right, you need experience. When you want something done honestly, you need integrity. Judge John Gannon has been Rome City Court Judge for 24 years.
This is John Gannon. I want to ensure that Rome will be a safe hometown for our families to prosper. Please vote for me on November 7th. Thank you.
Rated highly qualified by the Oneida County Bar Association. Judge John Gannon. Fair, firm, honest. Paid for by the committee to re-elect Judge John C. Gannon.
Ready for a smoother and safer ride? Head to Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, your trusted tire experts. At Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, you'll get expert advice from their knowledgeable staff. And it doesn't end there. Now through October 31st, buy 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get up to $100 back on a Bridgestone Visa prepaid card. For details, visit TallmansTire.com. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Get the tires you and your vehicle deserve at the best prices guaranteed. From Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at TallmansTire.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Hey, right now it's Friday. We're going into the weekend. Monday is October. Tuesday is October. That's Halloween. And then 1st of November is Wednesday. Wow. And New York Sash is saying their New York Sash bath makeover sale absolutely ends on November 1st, so you don't have a lot of time to take advantage of it. Get 20% off during the bath makeover sale right now. As getting older made it harder to step over the old bathtub, why not make your life easier by updating your bathroom? And you can do it now with the bath makeover sale. 20% off during that sale, and it absolutely ends on November 1st. Get started today by stopping into the Design Center on Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro, or you can visit New York Sash online. Ask about the big bath makeover sale and how you can save 20% off on the bath makeover during this month of October. Oriskany Boulevard, Whitesboro. Visit online at NewYorkSash.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
And the official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is from Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. Chuck Chiudella is back with the pumpkin spice, the amazing apple cider donuts, which are delicious and melt in your mouth. The lattes, the coffees, everything is there. And the pumpkin flavor spices are there as well. You know, it's Thanksgiving time just around the corner, which means you can take advantage of the melt in your mouth. These rolls, snowflake rolls, are so good. We buy them every year for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And they are available. But you got to sign up. You can sign up at the drive-thru inside at Daylight Donuts or call them at 315-724-7103. The most amazing dinner rolls, the snowflake rolls at Daylight Donuts.
Yes.
Are you looking to add to that? Have you ever had the snowflake rolls?
Are you kidding me, Bill?
They're the best. Yes, they're the best.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was just going to say, if anybody on YouTube sees me standing here stretching and touching my chest here.
You're sore. You're a bit sore today.
Extremely sore from my workouts with Mohawk Valley Wellness down the road here. So I've been.
And then one more item I want to tell you: buy a ticket for a veteran. Jimmy Fallon was all over this program yesterday. In fact, almost insinuating, Davey, that there might be a fight where he might want to take us into the ring or something. Jimmy Fallon, noon till 3 every day on WIBX.
Yes.
And he also made a major announcement about the upcoming show that is happening at the Stanley Theater on November 11th.
That you can meet me?
That Davey will be available for autographs. That's right. But he also announced this is the end of our show at the Stanley. Will be the final Laugh and Liberty Tour show. The final time you'll be able to see Jimmy Fallon and Kennedy together on the stage.
Right.
It'll be the last time. Pretty cool. That tour has been going on all year long, and it concludes It concludes right in Utica.
Can't wait to meet Kennedy, and Jimmy is the man. So
if you want to buy through River Hills Properties, if you want to buy a pair of tickets for a veteran and donate them to a veteran, just call the Stanley and ask about Heroes tickets at 315-724-4000. On the line right now, County Executive Anthony Picenti. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, you say Picenti, I say Pisanti. Pisante. Your opponent continues to purposely, I guess is the word that I'm looking for, purposely mispronounce your name. In fact, one time we asked him about it, and I said, "You know that the pronunciation is Pisani," and he said, "Well, I don't know that. I always thought it was Pisante." So,
well, look, and being in this business as I am, I know you get shots all over the place. But my only point is, that's I don't pick on anyone's family. That's off limits. I've always believed that. That's just not. It's taboo when it comes to this business, and it should be in every business. I mean, in everything. And that's just disrespectful. And just admit it. And so I know I got a little heated the other day, but at the same time, it's like that shows, I think, the character of an individual. And that's what I, point out in terms of, being here and in terms of what you say and what you do. And I know that, I've heard a lot of your show this morning talking about, telling the truth and being upfront and accepting, different things. But it's just typical, like, that I dealt with for all of the years I've been, even before I was elected. So let's,
Well, it is. I remember. It's almost. It's an old HW tactic he used on Saddam Hussein. It's instead of calling him Saddam Hussein, it was Saddam. And I read somewhere that he was thinking it got into his head and it made him angry. It made Saddam Hussein angry. I don't know that it necessarily did, but. Well, what are you going to do?
Anyway.
Here we are. All right.
Here we are.
Well, I know we have a lot to get to, and I want to talk about some of the things that you have on your list. But before we get to that, questions. Anybody has any questions? 315-736-0186. You can also message in at any time. And then, if you could, here we are. On the weekend of the opening, it's shocking that we're actually here, but at 6 a.m., history will be made on Sunday morning.
It will, and, I couldn't be happier, and I was there again yesterday at the hospital, and it's just a remarkable facility, and I think that, from time on, people are just going to be really impressed once they walk, if they haven't walked in the doors, and hopefully they don't have to. That's one of the other points that unless, but it's there and it's going to be a great one. And it's been a long time coming, but in time warp, it did kind of go. I mean, it did kind of fly by, I think, and all of that. So, and look, I know that people are anticipating things and, because of this move. But tell me when you moved from one house to another when you didn't have some little issue. So I think we just got to be patient and understand that this is not moving, an office, from one building to another. It's moving people that have have serious issues and need to be done deliberately and with care. And so let's be respectful and patient with that. So.
I'm going to ask you.
I just want to quickly ask you about some funding you've announced recently. Thea Bowman, Rome Capital, and I think you've got one coming up later today.
I do. Thea Bowman is I've always been a big fan of that organization. We've worked so closely with them over the years and have had different drives with our with our county employees that have generously given so many things to that organization that does so much with daycare and for those low income and families that need daycare to go to work, and the facility they're in is in need of a lot of work and mainly an elevator. I mean, and when they came to me with that, I mean, this was one of our challenges during the pandemic, in terms of daycare and people working and then going back to work and all that, but. So they need an elevator in that building. They've gotten some other money to fund, from the state and windows and other improvements. It needs much more. So we allocated. I proposed $250,000, which we've allocated for them to help with that elevator project. And then, it's like I said, Jane Dominique does a phenomenal job in her whole organization there. And board, and so I'm glad to do that. Capitol Theater is another asset that we did, a little piece to help them complete, some of their HVAC improvements that were left out, and that's another community asset. And, like the Stanley, it's a gem. It's seen some great renovations over the years, and needs to continue that. And then today we're which is a little different for me in terms of this ARPA funding and what we've done, but we're doing the SFM skate park, which is in honor of the Mercurial family who lost their son, and there's some difficult circumstances in which they have gone on a quest and working with people to create a skate park, because that was a big love of his, of their son Stone, but to have a place for kids to go, which is really across the country. Those are very exciting now. In talking with them, though, what I wanted to see and what we are working on and what our funding is tied to, it's tied to this creation of this park, is a mental health component of sorts, of which this park will also have the ability and information, and we're working out some of the details of connections for individuals, kids especially, that may have some issues and may have some difficulty. On the mental health side, or just on the different aspect of whether it's loneliness, whether it's difficulty at school, whether it's the difficulty with parents or siblings, etc. But so that's why I went down this path, because I want to see some place in which not only kids can have the recreation, but also have a resource available to them. And we're looking at whether there's kiosks or whether there's other pieces in that park, which as we go forward will provide them with information, linkages, and and then at times someone to talk to actually being there. So a little bit different on the side of a recreational facility.
Does Rome currently have a skate park, or is this new?
Jeff, I know that over at Pinty Field, I think they've set up a couple, a smaller piece. This is really looking at a much more vast and larger type facility, that they have outlined and designed. So, while I think they use Pinty Field and have some pieces over there, it's a little bit smaller, or it's a lot smaller.
This is something we asked of Mayor Izzo, and we'll ask the same of you here. What are you most proud of when you're in asking for people to go to the polls? Of course, early voting is underway tomorrow. What are the things that you're most proud of?
Well, I think last night we were at the Edge Awards, which North Valley Edge recognizes different companies each year, and then also the Christopher DeStito Award to individuals who have given back. And it was a nice dinner, but I've been obviously involved in economic development and business for a long time, and I have the history of looking back at when the business community wasn't always happy with what was going on, and we're having their difficulties. So I think I think when I like to, there's a whole list, and I'm proud of everything we've accomplished. But I think in looking, I gotta paraphrase the whole kind of the Ronald Reagan thing. I mean, I'm looking back and saying where we've come over the last several years, and I think that my appreciation and my looking back at what I'm most proud of is that we've had a part in at least a part of. I'm not taking credit for all of them, so before anybody gets, a little crazy out there, but we've had a part in all of this. We've had a part in the hospital. We've had a part, actually more than a part in Nexus. We've done Innovari up at Griffiths. We've done housing with Rome and Utica. We've done street improvements. We've done Main Street programs. We've done broadband access. We've done public safety. We've done in schools. So I think looking around and looking at what this community looks like today, even as it did just 4 years ago, and through a pandemic, I think I don't think there was a community that went through a pandemic and continued to move forward on projects. So many projects around the country and the state were just stopped. That wasn't the case here, and we kept those going. And I think, when you look around, I can point, like I said, to a lot of accomplishments. I just look at the way that this is a different county than it was 4, 8, 12, and even, to my opponents 17 years ago. And I'll take some satisfaction in that we have created a county government that's relevant, that's involved, that is solid financially, and able to contribute to things that we've seen and that we've done and that we've been a part of. And Wolf Speed, I mean, I just, the list goes on and on. It's hard to point to one, and I think a lot of it did stem, and I know that, we'll go back, 10 years ago, the Oneida Nation settlement changed the dynamics, changed the overall scope, and brought in that other revenue source that allowed us to hold the line on property taxes. And I think that's another thing that, you look at that, we are running county government with the same tax base that we did 11 years ago. Now, people will argue, well, you got Indian money. Yep, that's correct. We did. We got nation revenue. We got more sales tax. But we didn't ask more from the property taxpayers, the homeowners, the businesses to pay more. So we're running that government the same way with all the challenges and the increases. Sales tax is paid by everyone. And, I think that, when you look at that government structure of the last 11 years, can't help but think, how does that happen?
Yeah.
There's been a great cooperation with the Board of Legislators, great cooperation and just commitment by my department heads and staff. And I'm proud of all of it.
County,
long answer there. I'm sorry.
Well, listen, it's there's been a lot going on, and of course, it's almost apropos that you're looking at the opening this weekend, and it is history. It's there's no doubt it's a historic moment for Utica and for the county this weekend.
It is.
So.
I mean, this is. I don't think everybody. When you look at some of these other structures, especially like St. Elizabeth or even St. Luke's, you haven't seen this, and I said this at the opening last Sunday when they cut the ribbon, was this is something you haven't seen in over 60 years in this community.
Yeah.
And then go back and remember what there was, a new hospital being opened up. It's something that to this size and scope and recognizing that this was done during a pandemic, through all kinds of other stuff, like I said, and with some tough roadblocks from other sources too. Let's not forget about that.
Every community has a timeline, and there are key events that go on that timeline. They have to be often, most times, almost always, very important, monumental moments in that community's history. Certainly, Sunday at 6 a.m. will be one of those big moments. There's no doubt about it. So congratulations on that. County Executive, we'll do it again before we get to Election Day. Thank you for the time.
Yeah. Remember, early voting starts tomorrow.
Yes.
So I know you've been talking about it all morning, but we want people to know that. And like the mayor said before me, and we want people to get out and vote, please.
Get out and vote. Okay, Tony Picenti, thank you.
Take care.
Have a great day and a great weekend. Enjoy the weather today. It's going to be beautiful. All right, thanks. Coming up, he played Major League Baseball, just so happens to be from Rome, New York. Archie Cianfrocco is next on WIBX.
Bob Cardillo, experience from day one.
When 9/11 happened, Bob was called. When Katrina happened, Bob was called. When Utica University, ConMed, and PAR needed to expand, they called on Bob.
Now you can call on Bob and put Bob's plans to work for you. Using his extensive experience, Bob has plans to reduce crime, plans to keep our city clean and the roads repaired, plans to revitalize our neighborhood and engage our youth, plans to promote our economic development and keep the next generation here in Utica. November 7th, vote Bob Cardillo, Mayor of Utica.
I'm Bob Cardillo.
put my leadership experience to work for you as the next mayor of Utica.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we've represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
518-554-0000. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or alternative minimum tax. Did you know that municipal bonds are a way for investors to support civil projects while earning federally tax-free income? The Erie Canal, which led to the expansion of the United States into the Midwest in the 1800s, was financed with municipal bonds. Are you looking to bridge the gap between the income of your working years and the income needed in retirement? Municipal bonds might provide the solution you're looking for. Henyon & Walsh is a leading specialist in tax-free municipal bonds and has provided investors with quality service and personal attention since 1990. Call now to receive their informative bond guide absolutely free. Dial 1-800-761-9761 to learn how to earn retirement income while keeping your taxes at bay. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for a copy of their informative bond guide for free. No cost, no obligation. 1-800-761-9761. Henyon & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
Oh, hi, Doctor, finally.
What brings you in today?
It's anxiety, Doc. I can't even watch the news. We're treating illegal immigrants like honored guests. Criminals run wild. The economy's just nauseating. And the corrupt politicians, they couldn't care less.
I see. Tell me, have you tried voting on the Conservative Party line?
The Conservative Party?
Correct. I find that when people get sick of talk and excuses, they do much better voting Conservative.
Huh, how's it work?
The Conservative Party only backs candidates who are tough on illegal immigration and who defend the law-abiding, not the criminals. So your vote actually accomplishes something on the Conservative Party line.
Wow. Any side effects?
Well, if you're ever around AOC or other socialists, don't tell them you vote Conservative. It could cause seizures.
This election, look for the Conservative Party line. Row C on your ballot. Vote Conservative. It's the cure for what ails New York. Paid for by the State Conservative Campaign Committee.
First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
The Rangers have won the pennant, and the Arizona Diamondbacks are headed to the World Series. The Diamondbacks have won the National League pennant.
All right, it's 8:45 in the morning. A beautiful day is on the way today. We're going to have some very nice weather. I want to start with Don Leibel, and we're bringing in a special guest here this morning. Archie Cianfrocco, of course, is from Rome. Don Leibel, good morning.
Good morning.
This was a great grab. Talk a little bit about Archie here and the tie-in, which you've seen here for Major League Baseball and, of course, the Fall Classic, which gets underway tonight.
Yeah, 25 years ago, it's hard to believe that at that time has passed. The Yankees and the Padres were in the World Series, and of course, the Yankees won that with a 4-game sweep. But Bruce Bochy was managing. We hear the commentators talk about him, the magic that he did in San Francisco, but they don't talk much about, he did manage before that when he was with the Padres, and he had pretty good teams there with good players. And my interest in this with Bochy's success this year with Texas is that how does somebody, and this is my starting question for Archie, is that how does somebody stay relevant for a quarter of a century where the game changes, the players are changing, and how do you relate to the players as things change? Because Bochy gets older, the players are younger. How does he communicate? What is his secret for staying relevant?
We'll bring him in right now. Archie Cianfrocco. It's a great question, especially Archie. Good morning, by the way.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Well, first of all, we want to tell you how much we appreciate the fact that you're on the West Coast. It means you're getting up very early.
It's 8:30 there. It's not 8:30 here.
It's
Never
not.
mind.
No, I understand, and we appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much. So how does one stay relevant in baseball with, especially when another Roman has endorsed a lot of changes in Major League Baseball?
Exactly, man. I think it's great. I love the game. I love the game and the direction it's going, to be honest with you. I mean, some things you can kind of argue, but I think everybody agrees that the game moves faster now with the time clock and everything, and it hasn't really become a problem. So I think, some of those things that he implemented, I think have really helped the game.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I mean, this is going to be a really exciting World Series. It's kind of refreshing to see kind of two, I would say, new teams and younger teams kind of in it. Whoever wins, it's going to be a big achievement for each. So, pretty exciting.
Well, here's another example where money wasn't the driving factor. Being a Mets fan, once again the money didn't work. What's going on?
Well, you're speaking to the choir there, unfortunately. 'Cause, here in San Diego, it didn't work either.
Yeah,
that lineup San Diego had, man, I just cannot believe that they underachieved so much. I mean, I know we could talk about the Mets. I'm a Mets fan, but San Diego's lineup had the potential to be deadly.
Yeah,
and they were barely infectious.
Well, I mean, a good example is you look at these two teams, right? I mean, look at the teams that they've created. Look at the team that Chris Young and Bochy created in Texas, right? I mean, they were losing 100 games a couple years ago. They didn't go out and spend all this money and bring in 4 or 5 guys. They were very strategic in who they brought in, right? They would pack pitching. They brought up some young guys. They surrounded them with some good players, and they created a kind of a family environment. I think that's one thing they always talk about, and I think that's why Chris Young, sat and surprised Bochy at his house and sat there for hours until he said yes, right? He knew he was the guy that could finish kind of that story, and it's a great story.
I know it's true for Texas. I think it is for Arizona also. I think both of these teams are 2 years removed from 100-loss seasons. Yeah. How wild is that?
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, right? I mean, it just goes to show you what you can put together. I mean, sure, Texas has kind of some bigger payrolls, but they're not the Yankees, Mets, Padres, Dodgers, right? I mean, they're all sitting home watching.
Yeah, they're all sitting home watching. How about the? What's your take on the? Every other commercial seems to be a betting commercial. You can bet mid-game. You can bet mid-inning. You can bet batter to batter. And meanwhile, Pete Rose is like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me here."
Don't get me started on the Pete Rose thing. I think it's an actual shame. It's ridiculous. Unfortunately, they're going to wait till he
I know.
And so, it's a shame. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, especially with so much, and I get it. The fear is that he may have been betting on his own team, but it's to the point now where this is a guy that accomplished so much in baseball, and he's in the Hall of Fame. He's just not in the Hall of Fame. That's the sad part of it.
Yeah, it's sad.
Don, I'll give you a question here. Go ahead. By the way, we're speaking with Archie Cianfrocco from Rome, New York. A lot of baseball in Rome, New York. Don.
Archie, if you could just tell us again, in case some people didn't hear the last time that we were speaking about you being with the Padres in '98, the World Series comes. You're not on the World Series roster, but Bochy says, "You know what? I want you in uniform, and you deserve to sit on the bench." Could you explain that scenario to everybody?
Yeah, and I didn't have my greatest of years in '98, so there was a tough decision between me and another player for the Yankee series, for the World Series, and I didn't make the playoff roster. But Boch knew, I was at that point I was kind of the second longest tenured Padre on the team, believe it or not, which is kind of crazy to say. So, it was just a great experience, right? I mean, I grew up a diehard Yankee fan. I mean, I lived Yankees and. I dove in my backyard probably 5,000 times saying I was Craig Nettles. Willie Randolph or whoever, right?
Yeah.
And it was a great experience, and I don't know how much time we have, but there was a great story behind being at Yankee Stadium. I had actually a chance. We had a day off, and we had a workout. And after the workout, guys went to the monuments. I went up kind of to the upper deck and kind of sat where I did when I was a kid. And and I came down and I in the elevator, and the stadium's empty, right? It's late at night, no one's there, and I came down the elevator and I stopped at a floor because I was in the upper deck. I stopped in the offices, and George Steinbrenner actually got on the elevator.
Wow!
He looked at me because I was in full uniform. I was still in all my stuff, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I just told him the story, and he was a very gracious guy, very gracious. It was quite the memorable experience for sure.
Archie, it's interesting. You get to and you experience this. You are among the elite who get to experience being able to basically play the game as an adult, play a game as an adult, the game you love so much. And then once you get there, talk about just the pressures. And I almost feel like the pressures are probably worse today, especially everything is so analytics. All about analytics, but the pressures of, okay, you're here, now you got to stay.
Yeah, that was the biggest. That was the biggest struggle actually for me, right? Because I was, the 25-man roster. I was, I'll be the first to say I wasn't the superstar in the team. I was the 23rd, 24th, 25th roster guy, right? Like every spring training, I had to go and kind of remake the team, right? And there were a couple of years where. I was lucky enough to sign like a tier deal. So I went to spring training one year knowing that I was locked in. That was probably the only year, right? After that, it was, every year you got to show up and play. And, and baseball's tough, man. It's a long, grinding, humbling game, right?
Yeah.
It's just, you go to the game once a week or once a month thinking, I can do this. And you show up at the field every day for, 6 or 7 months. It's long, but it was fun. I mean, I always had a great time at the game. I never had a day where I just said, "Oh man, I don't feel like going to the ballpark today." Right? It was just, I really never had those kind of days. It was just, I just looked at it as every day was kind of a blessing. So
yeah. Well, you lived the dream. That's pretty darn awesome. You get home often. I think you were home this past summer, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. No, I come home, and I heard the mayor on earlier. I was listening, and I have to say, Rome, and even I think Tony even said it. During COVID, a lot of cities collapsed. Man, I go back to Rome, and it's like a pocket of thrown back, right?
Yeah.
It still looks nice. It's still nice. People take care of their houses. You can walk around. I really do think Rome is kind of. And believe me, I've been to other cities and other towns, and it's still a nice area. Everybody I talk to when I say, "Oh, I'm from Rome," they're like, "Wow, that's such a beautiful area." And it really is. No matter they live in San Diego, for God's sake, and there's not better weather anywhere in the world. And they always "Oh, upstate New York, it's such a beautiful area," and. So I got to give Jackie props and all the people that came previous to I think I think they've done a great job.
Archie Cianfrocco, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much. When you're in town, maybe we get you in studio. That would be really cool.
Yeah, no, I would love to do it. I have to give a shout out to my boys on my text message. Viver, Pardsy, Daddy, Doggy, and Campy, because they're all listening. They're all giving me crap about not mentioning their names. So there you go, boys.
All right, fair enough. Very cool. And again, thank you for getting up early in the morning. Don, thank you for setting this up.
Thank you.
Archie, we'll do it again. Thanks.
All right, see you guys.
All right, have a great weekend.
I wish I had seen this prior, but Lance and Lee says you're pulling a Mike Hennessy. His last name's pronounced Cianfrocco.
Cianfrocco. Sorry. Cianfrocco.
That's what he says. I didn't know that.
What
would a morning be without
he says
criticism from Lance and Lee?
Lance says he played Legion ball against him in the 80s.
Wow. That's narrowing it down so we can figure out who Lance really is. That's one more. Write that down. We're collecting evidence. We're sleuths, and we'll get to the bottom of it. Cully, thank you, man. I hope you. That was pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank my friend Kelly. Kelly from April 11th until now has helped me. You saw my prosthetic.
Yeah,
and
you have a leg now.
You've seen my journey from the scooter, the walker, and Kelly has been there every step of the way. I love her, and I've given her a rough time because I'm not easy to deal with.
Yeah, but that's true.
But she has put up with me, and that was the point. I really
right.
wanted to thank her.
Okay, cool.
And she deserves all the credit in the world for getting me back on my feet because I was at rock bottom.
I know.
You know I was at rock bottom for a while, and Kelly picked me up, and she got me to where I am, and I love her, and I thank her very much.
Thank you, Cully. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you, and please have me on more, and don't mute my mic.
We're, I'll do that. We're early voting tomorrow. Early voting begins tomorrow. Remember that. It's 8:58, WIBX Utica Run. We're gone. I'm back here on Monday morning. Enjoy your weekend.
He called it a historic budget. Historic because Piceni hasn't raised the Oneida County tax rate in 11 years. Michael Hennessy would like to remind you that in his 17 years in office, Piceni never lowered the tax rate. And his historic budget doesn't raise the tax rates because he can't. Oneida County is operating at the maximum allowable sales tax rate by New York state law. Now you can make a historic difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, the true independent candidate that can stop the historic spending. The historic spending that goes up year after year after year. It's what generational politicians always seem to do. Spend more of your money. Be a historic hero. Vote Michael Hennessy for county executive.
I'm Michael Hennessy, asking you to make the difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, November 7th. Thank you.
Bob Cardillo, experience from day one.
When 9/11 happened, Bob was called. When Katrina happened, Bob was called. When Utica University, ConMed, and PAR needed to expand, they called on Bob.
Now you can call on Bob and put Bob's plans to work for you. Using his extensive experience, Bob has plans to reduce crime, plans to keep our city clean and the roads repaired, plans to